Of the World's Gone Insane. Let's Talk About It podcast. We were here earlier. The stream died on us for some reason. Um, round of applause, wherever it came from. Well deserved. Anyway, we have a full house today. You can't see them, but we have two other people hiding away. But they'll pop in afterwards. Jose is going to slap us with some shocking news from Microsoft. And
All
there's
right.
this round of crap housery in how to alienate more gaming fans and be more greedy tossers, just like all corporations are. Jose, all yours, mate.
Yes. All right, ladies and gents, for those of you that have joined the Microsoft Rewards program, anytime within the last few years, you know how it used to be. You'd get 50 points a day for unlocking an achievement in any game, and then you'd get like 15 points a day for playing Game Pass. And now they've nerfed it to where it's 3 points to check in on Game Pass and then 5 points to get an achievement. And now what have they done? As of recently, over the last month or so, they've been false banning accounts for such reasons as having multiple users in the same household, despite having different accounts, opening more than one account, living outside of the supported region, using a VPN, or using bots or macros or cheat codes, quote unquote, to gain points through the Bing search engine. So Microsoft has decided to mess around and decide to say, we're just going to false ban you because we don't care about our consumers. We just want you to buy money for games, and you're going to get less, basically, or nothing at all, which is pretty much what Microsoft is doing.
And they're not going to honor what they already agreed to.
Nope. Because it's their service, and they can take it away as they see fit, which is what I think they're doing. I think it'll be one of those things where it will die out, give or take another year or so.
They'll just make it in a ways where you get no rewards for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just play and be happy to be playing and shut the fuck up and keep giving us money. We want that Game Pass money, and that's pretty much all they care. But I think, well, to be fair, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo have not endeared themselves in this generation. Okay, how can you not hear us? Hello.
Now I can hear you.
Okay. And they've done nothing like Sony jacking up the prices of PlayStation Plus. No valid reason for doing it. It's just more corporate greed. And being insistent on going into the live services. Xbox have just, they're salty. Nobody's buying the Xbox, but when you don't have any good exclusives on there, it's just not worth it. And when all those games and exclusives you do have are available on PC, people are just going to go there. And the Game Pass, you can also play that on your PC, and soon you can get that on the PlayStation as well, which was part of the deal for keeping Call of Duty on the PlayStation. So with all that, there's just no need to own an Xbox.
It's the end of Xbox. I think they've hit their peak, and the gold days are gone. The glory days are gone. They got rid of games with gold. They've toned down points. They've nerfed it now to where it used to be 10 points every time you completed a puzzle. Now it's 2. So let that sink in.
Yeah, they just want you on the Game Pass now, and that's it. They don't want you doing anything else.
Nope.
No rewards. Just pay your monthly fee and carry on with the shithousery. Hey, well, that's fine. But then if people stop buying the Game Pass as well, then what? You spent 80 billion buying Activision. You spent 8 billion buying Bethesda. You've bought all these big companies. And yet, if the games are crap, nobody's going to care about it. Nobody's going to get your Game Pass. And it's TikTok. Whereas Sony and Nintendo are still thriving in the console game. And there's no signs of slowing up. So, well, on their head be it. That's all we can say about that.
Yep. I got falsely suspended, so all I'm going to say is fuck you, Microsoft. That's pretty much all that needs to be said. Game Pass will, I think, eventually end up phasing out because their goal is to reach 25 million subscribers. I think they're barely at 5 million worldwide right now. It's getting to where Xbox is so tone deaf that it's not even funny anymore. I think Ginger is right. Series X and S is the last console that they will ever release, and that's going to be it. And they'll be lucky to survive off of Game Pass.
Yeah, the only way they can come back now is if they go, okay, next next generation, Bethesda 343, Activision, get your shit together, get them exclusives ready, because
Mhm.
that's what we're going to rely on next generation if the Game Pass is flopping. Otherwise, they're screwed.
Yep.
You know, they'll just end up being a games publishing company like Sega
Yep.
ended up being. And it is what it is. I don't really care. I've got no sympathy for those
Yep.
bastards that just keep monopolizing everything. So screw them.
Only advice I can give to people now is if you still have your rewards account and you're able to cash out, do it now because they're fucking banning people left and right. I was a victim of that. I had 12K points. I'll never get that shit back. And I'm not
Yep.
going to bother fighting it anyway because it's going down. They're going to be killing the reward program without actually killing it, so
Well,
to speak.
Yeah, see if you can get them transferred to something else. Otherwise,
Yeah.
if not, screw it. But it sucks. So that's that on Xbox.
Yep.
I'll bring in other co-hosts. Hello, guys. Haven't seen you yet. Wink, wink. Anyway, so we are moving into the king of geopolitical slaughter and murder. Garbage human, all-round big piece of shit, and a man who would make Hitler have wet dreams. Henry Kissinger has died at the ripe young age of just 100 years old.
He had so much life left to live. I mean, dude, yeah, 100. That's way too fucking young.
The good die young, but that's why he grew old, because he's
Yeah.
not good. He's subhuman scumbag. Again, he's a poster person of people literally don't learn from the atrocities caused by government. They just embrace it and become what they ran away from. Because Henry Kissinger was German Jew and he went to America and didn't really care. He just carried on the atrocities that that other imperialist nations are. He was at the epicenter of US imperialism. Like, the man is responsible for possibly 4 million deaths. He's destabilized how many countries in South America and Asia, and he looked at it with glee. He loved it. He loved doing it. He was a complete fucking sociopath, and his
Wiped
death
out
should be
1/5 of the
celebrated.
population of Cambodia.
Well,
That's
most
right.
people that reach heights like that are sociopaths.
Yeah, of course. And then you have like the entire establishment like fawning over him and paying their respects because they learned imperialism from him. They learned how to mass slaughter people from him. Even our own like David Cameron's and Tony Blair's and all this kind of stuff. We're fawning over the guy, and it's one of those where he should. It's a shame he died without facing justice for the crimes that he committed, because he's somebody who should have been tried at The Hague and he should have been in prison, along with pretty much the majority of U.S. World leaders and members of the cabinets there and in the UK as well.
There's going to be
so,
people who will never face justice. Prior to him, we have people like Jimmy Savile, and after him, we're going to have people like Rupert Murdoch. They're never going to face justice for anything they've done.
It's one of the few times I wish there was a hell.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed.
But the thing is, right, on Rupert Murdoch, there's never been anything that you could actually convict him on concrete-wise. Jimmy Savile, his crimes weren't known about until after he had died. And he was able to avoid justice because of that, because of the fact that obviously people were unable and unwilling to testify against him.
People knew,
but when it
people
comes,
knew a lot about Savile before he died.
No, people are suspicious, but
rumors.
the people who knew were not willing to testify, namely because they were his victims.
Yeah, exactly. But
when it came to Kissinger, though, there was no debate. There was no debate when it came to Kissinger. The fact is, he was one of history's greatest monsters. His crimes were there for all to see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Behind the Bastards did an 8-part episode on Kissinger. I would highly recommend anybody to go and listen to that. But, I mean, we could spend all day listing off the crimes of Henry Kissinger. The support of the junta in Argentina, the supporting of the installation of Augusto Pinochet in Chile, the support of the dirty, well, again, it was the dirty war in Argentina, but the support of the dictator of then Pakistan against Bangladesh. As I've already mentioned, one fifth of the population of Cambodia was wiped out through bombing. Laos to this day still holds the record as being the most bombed country in the world, and that was all orchestrated by Kissinger.
And they still have unexploded mines everywhere.
8 million unexploded
Absolutely.
bombs. Yeah,
Absolutely.
8 million unexploded bombs.
Kissinger, unfortunately, was the blueprint for American foreign policy for many, many decades. You know, he was the brainchild behind American imperialism, the idea of might is right, and America will use its might to dominate whoever it wants and to do whatever the hell it wants on the world stage.
Yep.
And unfortunately, again, a lot of people carried on his legacy when, truthfully, again, as you've already mentioned, he should have been on trial at The Hague. He should have been right there alongside Slobodan Milosevic.
I really wish people, when you brought up that saying, might isn't right, I really wish that there was just a switch I could throw on like a light switch where everyone in the world would just suddenly get that. Might is not right. And what a better
might is right, are you saying?
No, I was saying that was Kissinger's philosophy. Kissinger's philosophy was might is right.
I'm saying might isn't right.
Oh yeah. That's completely my position. But again, Kissinger was the blueprint of that mentality of might is right, and America can do whatever the hell it wants on the world stage by just bullying its way.
Yeah.
But
and I mean,
imagine.
I'll go ahead, Christine.
I was just saying, you could just imagine if everyone all of a sudden got it through their thick skulls that might isn't right, and how wonderful this world might be, or better it might be.
Yeah, but unfortunately, there's not much you could do with the bombs dropping on other countries when America's doing it. Like, at best, you can just fucking, pray that people use their Second Amendments in America to overthrow their own fucking government and the both parties. But unfortunately, like, the thing is, like, people look at, say, what's going on in Israel now and the Ukraine and all that, but what you don't know is how many American troops are in Africa, destabilizing Africa because of the Belt and Road Initiative, or to protect, corporations for the batteries that you get in your car and your smartphone and all this kind of shit. There's a genocide going on in the Congo and all of that. And right at the heart of it, again, the US is involved. The corporations are involved there. Like, this is the unfortunate thing. Is like people just don't realize just that fucking stretch that America has everywhere. It's a cancer on the fucking world. And
sorry.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, corporations use the American government and other governments that use the taxpayer dollars to line the pockets of the shareholders of these companies. And voting federally is not going to change that. And I think it was a guy from the Young Turks. I couldn't put it into words, but he once made an argument for how local voting and gradual overthrow going up the chain would probably be one of the only ways that it could be done. And he did have a great argument. I wish I could, state it for you now, but I can't remember it.
This is also something worth remembering about Kissinger, which is that he and Richard Nixon were not fans of democracy. If they could, I think, in all honesty, they would love to have installed Nixon as a monarch. The fact is, all of the actions that they carried out, they circumvented Congress. Nixon and Kissinger at no point approached the U.S. Congress when it came to Operation Breakfast and Operation Menu, where they dropped thousands and thousands of bombs on countries like Cambodia. Never once did they get the approval of Congress for that.
And not just drop bombs, but went right through those countries like sovereign nations. Fuck it. We'll just walk right through them. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Even
sorry, as I said earlier, though, this won't be the last person who will not face justice for their crimes. We should get very used to it. We're seeing corruption in our faces, and people don't give a fuck. And unfortunately, a lot of the general public actually salute and appreciate and applaud corruption in their faces. They actually like it and probably wish they were that person themselves. So people like Henry Kissinger is just the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion. There's going to be lots of other people who, when they die, their history will be revealed to us and what despicable people they were and how they never faced any justice whatsoever.
Gaz had his hand up first. I'll go to Gaz first.
I mean, I'm looking at his Wikipedia page. He won the 1973 Nobel Prize for Peace.
Yeah.
Yes, that was one of the worst decisions they ever made.
I think you mean
that caused a lot of arguments and resignations when he was given that.
And I think you mean won. Yeah, in that context, he won that Nobel Prize.
It's one of the times where the Nobel Prize has wound up going to the worst possible person. Barack Obama, for example, won the Nobel Prize for Peace when he was carrying out drone strikes.
Yep.
But he got the Nobel Peace Prize just a few months after being elected, so he didn't deserve it in any regard because he hadn't done anything. They just fucking gave him a Nobel Peace Prize, and then, as you say, after the fact, he's carried out like drone strikes.
Yep.
But again, there's other cases of the Nobel Prize you can look back on, and it definitely did not go to the right people. I mean, for example, the Nobel Prize for Science went to the lobotomy at one point.
Jesus Christ!
I mean, the other thing
that explains this panel, including myself. The
other thing I didn't know was that he was the head of the 9/11 Commission.
Yes, he was appointed by George W. Bush to that, which again was extremely controversial.
When he was fucking 80 or something.
Shit, George W. And the W stand for what? What? When? Why that happened? Y'all gotta start telling me shit, man.
What?
W stands for where's the cocaine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The war.
But I wanted to pick up on what Zam was saying about the fact of historical revision. It's not that it's going to keep happening. It's already been happening.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was it only a year ago that F.W. de Klerk, the last white president of apartheid South Africa, passed away? And there was so much revision of his history and how he was a great man who brought about peace and who ended the apartheid. What they don't acknowledge, what a lot of outlets and world leaders didn't acknowledge when they were paying tribute, was the fact that his administration was responsible for causing people to disappear.
Yeah.
His administration was responsible for a number of brutal atrocities in the black population of South Africa. But it was ignored. And they say, well, he ended the apartheid. Well, yeah, the reason he ended the apartheid was because South Africa was a pariah state. They were facing multiple international economic sanctions.
Yep.
They had no choice but to end the apartheid at that point. It was the only way of actually preserving the South African nation.
Yep.
We will see it. We have seen the rehabilitation of people like George W. Bush. I mean, George W. Bush, again, is another person I would argue should be on trial in The Hague, not just for the Iraq War, but for facilitating the torture of people at Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
And yet his reputation has been rehabilitated. We will probably see Tony Blair's reputation rehabilitated at some point, maybe after he dies. We watched Margaret Thatcher be canonized in this country, despite the fact, again, she was a supporter of the apartheid in South Africa. And she was also a supporter of Augusta Pinochet.
She was never... Sorry, go on,
Christine.
Christine.
I was just going to say, the sad thing is George W. Bush's doesn't even need that much done to his reputation because so many people already, because they agree with the shit he did.
Yeah, I mean, Hillary Clinton
I think people had to change their heart afterwards.
Yeah, that's because
people had to change their heart afterwards.
That's because
initially
we're-
they all
more
agree
was
with him, for
learned.
sure.
More
And
was
that's-
learned about
Yeah.
the Iraq War and how the case for it was an outright lie.
And because we're fucking stupid. Let's tell it like it is.
Well, that's-
We as a
you're talking
country are
about the
pretty
general
fucking
public.
And
Yeah,
so many,
you know,
and so many people have died as well.
Yeah.
Between now, like last 20 plus years, so many people have died, and people wondering why. And by the way,
Yeah.
Shred, our best mate, Rick B said, Obama
Oh, just
deserves a
fuck
Nobel
off,
Prize
Rick B.
because he was president.
Why do we keep bringing this guy's comments up? Honestly,
That's fun.
Why not? Everyone needs a whipping boy. Wait, that's probably not.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I mean, we'll probably talk about incels commenting on this channel before. I mean, so welcome, Rick B. Thank you for filling that that demographic.
Bang.
I like talking to incels.
We love the trolls here.
We're gonna
embrace
get-
them.
We're going to get canceled today, ladies and gentlemen, and I am all for
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, look, I even look at people like Ian Duncan Smith and George Osborne who should be fucking tried for their crimes that they did with austerity. Like Ian Duncan Smith, you know, that man, his policies is responsible for 300,000 deaths alone of like disabled and the poor. Sorry, George Osborne and Ian Duncan Smith's, you know, austerity. Even like the UN are looking at Britain and going, the levels of poverty in this country is a gross violation of human rights. Yeah, it's we're seeing levels of poverty now that the Victorian era is looking at like, God damn, that's a poor ass people. It's crazy. And like I said, where I work, it's you know, one of our biggest issues is we are issuing vouchers for food banks, fuel, so people can pay for their you know, for their gas and electric and all this kind of shit. People are struggling and they're all working. They all work 9 to 5. And these motherfuckers, they came in 2010 and they're just like, yeah, fuck you. They destroyed everything and they're not going to face any repercussions either. They're going to get away with it.
It'll be much like part of the reason for that is because there are elements of the press who are telling people that, hey, this is justifiable. They're targeting scroungers and scammers, not that they're targeting disabled people.
Like,
I mean,
country...
it's mass gaslighting of the nation, similar to what we've experienced with the fact that there are still a large group in this country who want Boris Johnson back as Prime Minister, even though we have now learned through the COVID inquiry that, yes, he did say that he wanted the bodies to pile high and he thought that elderly people should just accept their fate and die.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I see Christine's face. And that,
but
yes,
the thing is,
the press drivers of the
not
country
really
actually said
doing
that.
that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the level of Stockholm syndrome in this fucking country goes, but because they just allow like the press to gaslight the poor, and they cheer on it because they're like, there's people worse off than me, even though my situation's shit and I'm too fucking thick to do anything about it or learn how to do something about it. I'm just going to go along with the gaslighting. We see it all the fucking time.
Or realize they're one paycheck away from being in the same situation. It's like, it's not the same because one is very, very worse. But Hitler needed his scapegoats, right? So he picked the Jews, the gypsies, the homosexuals, the communists. Every society needs that scapegoat that you can blame. And this is the one right now. It's
the rich are in power, so they're never going to put themselves as the villain and the scapegoat, even though they're the ones causing all of this. Sorry to butt in. Go on, Christine. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you're right.
Well, our scapegoat right now is people coming across the channel on rubber dinghies. It's all their fucking fault, as far as the press is concerned. Everyone's plight, everyone's problems is people not from this country trying to get into this country, and that's what the fucking the right wing press they do when it comes to trying to find somebody as a culprit to everyone's problems, and it's not. And unfortunately, a lot of people believe that shit.
Yeah, I mean, they only have two things to run on, and that is the culture wars and blaming immigrants. That's it. Even Lee Anderson said it himself. Because they don't have anything.
I'll
What
be right
policies do they
back.
have? The autumn, yeah, no problem. The autumn statement just came in and just gave more fucking hand jobs to the rich, fucked everyone else over. Disabled people got a nice juicy fist up the ass yet again, saying, "Oh, you know what? You can fucking go find work. Fuck you. Whatever, man. We don't care. We're gonna sanction you. We're gonna cut your benefits if you can't find work." I fucking couldn't find work for 4 years because I'm disabled, and I went through hell. Okay, luckily the job center were very sympathetic. Because I was literally like, all I ever did was look for work. I didn't do anything else. And you can't, and there's also, I have to say, there's also a frustratingly sexist element to trying to get a job just doing admin as well. Like, because all the admin jobs tend to go to women. I'm not taking women out. I'm just saying this, the businesses mentality doing this again, I'm gonna get their jobs. That's all good with me. All right. But it's very hard for a man to just get a job in admin, just simple admin, which is something I could do because I could have sat in the office, done all of that and all this kind of stuff. And in the end, when I finally got my job, I still have to, like, I go all over the borough doing seminars and all this kind of stuff. It's had a huge impact on my physical health. Like, my legs are fucked, but I have to do it. I've got no choice because there's no other options. Like, I can't afford to be unemployed. I was very lucky, again, like I said, with the job center, because I was on their books for 4 years or 3.5 years. I was on their books and having to go there or deal with phone calls and all that, and they never once threatened to sanction me because they understood the situation that disabled people just fucking struggle to find work. And I mean people with physical disabilities and all this. Gaz?
Recently, there's been another flaming attack on them by saying that they have to take certain jobs to do with working from home. Now, as I said before, a lot of people have issues that it's not just a one little thing. For some people, even just sitting down for a little over time is a painful thing because they've got to get up. It depends on the type of injury they have or disability they have.
Well, the mental capabilities as well, and that never takes into consideration. Like I said, well, I worked in a day center or with adults with autism and severe learning difficulties. The vast majority of them were non-verbal, had no form of communication. And, when the Tory government came in and they privatized the DWP, all of my clients had to go to the job center and they had to be taken by a carer. And the job center took one look at them and they're like, what the fuck is going on? This is ridiculous. And obviously signed them back off. But this is the kind of level of just it's sadism. They are sadistic fucks who get off on the suffering of the poor. They love it. They get off on it. It gives them great pleasure. We know for a fact that they sit behind closed doors and they laugh in glee at causing more suffering to the poor. When people push back after COVID saying, I'm going to be a bit more choosy about my job. I want a better paying job. What happens? They fucking collude together and inflation kicks in and prices go up to make you poorer and desperate to get any job that you can. It was even alluded to by the fucking Aussie businessman. I'm sure you guys saw that conference. It said, hey, workers are getting they want too many rights and all this kind of shit. We've got to make them poor. We've got to drive up unemployment to make them desperate and all this.
And not only that, they want you to work until you die. Because they're doing that shit too. They're like, we're going to fucking raise the retirement age because fuck you. We can do what we want to do. We want you to work until you die.
Yeah,
that's literally where we're going.
So in the States, it's not run by the government, but when you retire in the States, that fund that you guys all pay into, isn't that actually making money? Isn't it healthy? Like, it's not in any danger. There's no reason for people to actually technically raise that age.
Yep, but they're what they're doing is for retirees, they're starting to fuck with them and be like, here's the deal, we're gonna start cutting your shit. Because it's just like Ginger said, they're doing that to them. They're doing the same exact shit to us, where they're cutting benefits and they're doing this, they're doing that. You reach a certain age and they probably figure, fuck it, okay, you got maybe another 5-10 years before you kill over and die. So we're gonna cut your benefits in half because we fucking can. Because we're greedy like that.
Well, they
I'm
want to give
very
more tax cuts to the rich. So to give
Yep.
tax cuts to the rich,
Yep.
you have to start cutting in other areas. And the Guardian put out a great article the other day about how the current political system, how neoliberalism is basically fucking expensive, and it costs governments more money just trying to prop up the rich than it does trying to run an actual proper functioning country. Which again, always for me, it destroys the argument that capitalism is a good fucking policy to have. It's like, no, it isn't, because it's exponential growth and it just rewards the people that are rich enough to rig the fucking system. Doesn't matter if it's regulated or unregulated. There's always people are going to twist the tits off of the system to benefit. And of course, it costs us money. If you privatize everything, they're keeping all the profits. Then the government has to come in and give more money for that thing to function, i.e. the railways and all this kind of shit, then of course it's going to cost us money. We're not seeing the dividends. We're not seeing the returns in these profits. So it's not being invested back into public services. That's why America
keep all the money and don't improve anything.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. America's infrastructure is literally collapsing. And because there's no money there. It's all,
once you privatize something like a train service, that company will let it run itself into the ground, because they've already done things like this sick and twisted mathematics to say, you know what, we won't put anything into refurbishing, because technically we can afford to have 1,000 people die in a train accident and pay them off millions to their families and still not lose money.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like George.
Right.
It's like George Carlin said. George Carlin, he was like, here's the deal. They don't want obedient workers. That's what the fuck this country's afraid of, and that's what the world's afraid of. They want obedient workers. They want people just smart enough to run the machines, but dumb enough to not understand how shit really works. That's how it works.
George.
Yep.
By the way, just to respond here, he goes, what happened to Xanta? Because they were promised 3 hours of Xanta unloading his sack. Well, just so you know, Cheeto, somebody who's a fan of Dragon Ball, I did some fusion with Xanta, and now this is what you get. All right.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God he got rid of that ridiculous fucking accent. Thank the Lord. I'm so happy.
When I'm not fusing, the fusion's only on this particular thing. You'll see Xanta full on.
Great.
Oh,
but
God.
you can't take Xanta seriously.
I'm getting cancelled.
Great.
Yeah, you can't take him seriously when he's doing the show like this.
Oh, stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Are you talking about what you're wearing? Because your picture is about this small on my phone. So if it's something you're wearing, you'll have to send me.
Well, I have a bit. Oh yeah, I'll send you a picture later of full-on Santa Claus. Full on.
Okay.
But if we could just briefly touch back on Kissinger himself. I mean, the man of the hour. And again, it may actually be the last of the great atrocities that he actually was able to live a full life and die at the age of 100.
Still too young.
Not stand trial for what he did.
Still too young. Still too young. The motherfucker had 100 years to live. He should have lived for another 100 years.
Now, the two things that have come to mind with regard to the fallout of it for me is one, where Kissinger would rank as potentially the most evil American who's ever lived. I think he's certainly up there. The only other American who might come close would be Andrew Jackson and his treatment of the Native Americans. I don't know what your opinion on that would be, Jose, given that you are literally the only American in this call.
Yeah, I'm the only American here, so I'm like, yeah, it's just we I have no shame in saying are a pretty fucked up country, to be honest. We really are. We've done some stupid shit, and we will continue doing stupid shit because we're crazy.
You're not the only place that's crazy. You're just some of the loudest crazies.
Oh yeah, we are. Yeah.
Unfortunately, you've
Yeah.
got a lot of
But
money
Kissinger-
to spread the crazy.
Yeah.
But Kissinger
And I hope
was
you don't take
such a
offense to this, but I couldn't narrow down which American into such a list of, you know.
I mean, he was such a hateful bastard. He made Dick Cheney look like a moderate. If you compare the two, their track records,
Mhm.
Dick
Yeah.
Cheney
And I
looks like
can't
a
stand
a-
Dick Cheney.
a
I
leftist.
fucking think
a leftist liberal.
Dick Cheney should be in The Hague.
Well, he's dead now anyway, so he can't really be.
No, he's
not. Dick Cheney.
Yeah, he's still
Yeah.
alive.
He's still alive.
He's still alive. He's still kicking.
You know, I've also had to tell Cheeto this because, you know, with Cheeto, he always says that the right and the left are the same. But I've always tried to tell him that you have no idea what the fucking left is in America because you have center right in America when it comes to what's the closest thing to the left. So obviously, you're always going to think the right and left are the same because it's just two versions of the fucking right. And regarding Andrew Jackson being a Democrat, you know who also were fucking Democrats? The fucking Confederacy. But you know who fucking sucks for Confederacy dick? The Republicans. Things change. Andrew
I'm
Jackson
so
today
sick.
wrapped out would be a fucking Republican. And
I'm
someone like
so
Cousin
sick.
Cheeto, when you mention
Southern
something like that, I think to
strategy,
myself, my
which
God,
happened during the civil rights movement.
how
Hold
can you
on,
be so
hold
fucking
on.
stupid?
Hold on. I'm so sick of people bringing that up. But there were Democrats. Take 5 seconds, read a history book, and use some critical thinking, and
He only
then
reads
come
comics, I'm
back.
afraid.
Always being a
But
smart.
the other thing with regard to Kissinger is the response from a lot of mainstream politics has been completely different from, I would say, the mainstream of society. So the mainstream of society has been, thank God he's fucking dead at last. Let's celebrate. And, you know, again, he should have been in trial at The Hague long before he was able to pass away peacefully of old age.
Yeah.
But the two quotes that I've seen more people sharing in response to the tributes that have come from pretty much every level of politics. One is from Anthony Bourdain, the late chef Anthony Bourdain, who wrote in one of his books with regard to Kissinger this little quote, which he was asked about 17 years later, and he said, "I've regretted a lot of things I said. This is not one of them." He said, I scrolled down to the wrong quote. Hang on, here we go. He said, "Once you've been to Cambodia, you'll never want to stop beating Henry Kissinger to death with your bare hands. You will never again be able to open a newspaper and read about that treacherous, prevaricating, murderous scumbag sitting down for a nice chat with Charlie Rose or attending some black tie affair for a new glossy magazine without choking. Witness what Henry did in Cambodia, the fruits of his genius for statesmanship, and you will never understand why he's not sitting in the dock at The Hague next to Serbian strongman Slobodan Milosevic." And he also has said as well, he's amazed that Henry Kissinger has been embraced by New York, and you know, when he should not be able to eat in any restaurant in that city.
Yeah.
The other quote that people have been bringing up was from the 2016 presidential debate between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Now, I don't know how many of you remember this, but Sanders took Clinton to task. Yeah. Sanders said, where the secretary and I have a very profound difference in the last debate, and I believe in her book, she talked about getting the approval or the support or the mentoring of Henry Kissinger. Now, I find it rather amazing because I happen to believe that Henry Kissinger was one of the most destructive secretaries of state in the modern history of this country. I am proud to say that Henry Kissinger is not my friend. I will not take advice from Henry Kissinger. And in fact, Kissinger's actions in Cambodia when the United States bombed that country, overthrew President Sihanouk, created the instability for Pol Pot and the Khmer Rouge to come in, who then butchered some 3 million innocent people, one of the worst genocides in the history of the world. So count me in as somebody who will not be listening to Henry Kissinger.
You know how they killed children there? I'm not going to repeat it here, but it involved trees, and it was just horrible. Horrible.
Yeah, it was just a despicable regime. Absolutely fucking despicable. But again, all the 20th century atrocities, you could just trace it back to the United
One
States
man,
and to
one man in particular.
Yeah. I mean,
That
you
is
know,
crazy.
yeah. Again, like we talk
I have
about.
to sorry. I just
Go
want
on,
to say
man.
that someone like Henry Kissinger, like I forgot he existed for a long time because he's been so fucking old and so irrelevant for the last portion of his life that he wasn't. He was just retiring. Obviously, he wasn't doing anything. And then when I heard that he died, it all just came flooding back to me. My God, this fucking terrible person. And just going through his life again and just reminding myself of what he's done. It's yeah.
They even
Just
had him in
dying
an
out.
episode of the fucking Simpsons. That I mean, even back at my age when that first aired, I was in my teens. I was still shocked by that. I was like,
Well,
"What
it
the
wasn't
fuck
actually
is wrong
him.
with these
It wasn't
people?"
actually him who did the voice. They were basically parodying him.
No, I'm pretty sure he did the voice. It was him.
I'm going to do my Google research.
Google it. Google it. I'm pretty sure he showed up as Kissinger.
Hey,
Okay, they
to add,
put Kissinger in an episode, but I don't think he actually provided the voice.
Yeah, let me check.
just
But,
go
I
back a
got you.
second while you're looking it up. Just
No,
another
it was
reason to
voiced
like
by Harry
Bernie
Shearer.
Sanders. Never mind.
what's it? Oh, whoops.
Yeah, he was in the episode, but he wasn't voiced by him.
Yeah, didn't he
Oh, I
die?
think
Didn't he die in a car wreck because he dropped his glasses down the toilet?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
What I
yeah,
was
no.
trying to say
My
was
apologies. But even
that
still, back then, I was pissed off that they just put him in there, like at all, because it was just fucking vile.
well, The Simpsons like making fun of people, and if they did that to him, that's fine. I haven't seen the episode, but I just wanted to say, what another great reason to like Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. Well, until recently, where he was also touting the fucking humanitarian pause shit instead of saying a fucking ceasefire. Fuck Bernie
I don't
Sanders.
get
Last
that.
couple of years, he's just a
But
fucking idiot.
it's like sometimes these changes within him, like I don't get it because he was not a Zionist whatsoever. Bernie Sanders, he prior to the Squad and all of these fuckers coming into power, he was probably the only politician I can think of within America amongst the Americans who spoke out against what Israel was doing.
I think the problem is
all of a sudden this.
the problem is when you have the looming threat of Trump, he's willing to play ball to make sure that under no circumstances does he rock the boat and get Trump in. But just fucking stupid. But that's pretty much what he seems to be doing.
I can see that, but obviously his calculations were miscalculated because it seems that if Biden, it looks like Biden's obviously with his stance on Israel is he's losing people, he's hemorrhaging potential voters, like a
Yeah, I mean, there's also the thing of look sorry, with like the Squad that have come out obviously wanting a ceasefire, and AIPAC, the fucking massive Jewish lobby, are just gonna go after them and primary them in the next election, so they could shut up any dissenting voices. It's like it's a complete fascist takeover in the United States, and you can see it when when it comes to dealing with Israel, how just undemocratic the world is. And I'm not equating it to Israel, but just how money influences politics. We've
still
seen it
need to
over here
keep
in the UK.
protesting.
What?
Protesting needs to never. He just needs to continue consistently because it's the only thing that is making people wobble. The Spanish Prime Minister, President, he's had a change of heart. The Belgian one as well. And there have been like sort of unusual words coming out from Biden. Trying to sound a bit more balanced, even though when it comes to his overall policies, he's still got his fucking nose right up Israel's fucking ass. But regardless, there are subtle changes happening, and I think that's because of all the fucking protesting. It is helping to a degree. I mean, I don't think Israel's ever known itself to be so fucking unpopular and it's super unpopular.
Yeah, well, it's always been unpopular. It's just that now that this has happened, the rest of the world gets to see it. You know, I think again, the West is so fucking insular to its own fucking flag up its own ass, hoorah, hoorah, when it comes to all kinds of shit, that they don't realize how the rest of the world feels like. Like in Greece, with Mitsotakis kissing the ass of Israel, it's a big insult to the Greeks because the Greeks have always sided with the Palestinians. Always, we know what Israel's about. It's not to say that that Greeks don't have a good relationship with Israelis. It's just that they understand the atrocities that are happening. But we've always been historically pro-peace, pro-Palestinian, because Greece, despite being a Greek Orthodox nation, has a fantastic rapport with all the Muslim nations because they understand the cost of imperialism and the suffering under imperialism, both under the Ottomans and under the British and the Americans. And to see Mitsotakis turn around and just sit there and just be yet another generic ass kisser it's just frustrating. But it frustrates me even more that Greeks, you know, after everything, they're still fucking just as stupid as anywhere else. They just voted this government in, you know, and they were dumb enough to let Basok return, which split the left vote, which allowed the New Democrats to come in. And it's just like, you know, but the people in general, they're always out in solidarity with what's right. And what's right, it's obviously standing up. It's just about peace. It's more about fucking peace and nobody fucking dying than it is about, say, Palestine, for example. It's just that people are sick and tired of these fucking wars. They're sick and tired of the just death, destruction, greed, and, you know, Zam being a terrorist. They're just fed up with it.
I heard something the other day that war's not about who's right, it's about who's left.
Yeah.
And regardless, like if they do go to a war with Iran, which is what Israel wants America to do, but they're not going to let their fucking people die in that war. It's going to be very interesting to see how that progresses, because like war fatigue is massive at this moment in time. People are still knackered over what's happening in the Gulf, and I really think I'll be fascinated to know if Americans are willing to go to start a new war with Iran and willing to die, you know, for the sake of the needs of another country.
Well,
it's going to be kind of interesting.
I wonder if they'd be so quick to vote to go in if congresspersons had to send their own children.
Well, yeah.
Well, no chance. I mean, no congressman, let alone billionaires, will ever send their own kids. I mean,
nor will they themselves go.
This is my issue with people fighting these wars, because nowadays you're fighting wars for the 1% and their needs. You're not really fighting it for the greater good.
Never. Yeah. And that's why I know it will never happen, but I would love for there to be a law passed saying that if you vote to go to any war, your family member, your son or daughter, and if you don't have one, you get to go and fight.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. You'd see the policies change. And that, not just the politicians as well, but the CEOs. They're the ones that want these fucking wars. Send their kids off. Like, oh, okay, well, you know, you can send your kids off. All the rich can fight each other, and we'll just sit there and carry on as normal. But when it comes to Iran, look, Iran is not going to be a pushover like Iraq was. You know, it's just not. Like, if they thought they had troubles in Afghanistan, Iran is just a whole different kettle of fish, and so they know.
Has oil by any chance, Ginger?
No, none at all. No, it's you know, they just have falafel and potpourri. That's it. Maybe some saffron. No oil whatsoever at all. Yeah, but they're itching to go to war with Iran. They're itching. They're always on the cusp. They're there. They're just looking for that excuse. They've been wanting to do it ever since the neocons talked about the countries that wanted to start trading on the euro and ditch the petrodollar. they wanted to destroy all of those countries, and Iran is the only one left that they haven't destroyed yet. And they just want in there. They want to go in and they want to get the oil, and it fucking kills them that another country has control of its own oil. And it's more a question of if not when, not if. You know.
I just wonder how the American people will feel, like American troops. Are
Cheers,
they just going
Vance.
to blindly go and fight in this war? Are they just going
What's
to
that?
do it? I mean, like Americans, ones involved in the military, are they just going to happily just fight for this? I mean, knowing now, I think people are a lot more clued. They're more clued on than ever. I mean,
They're out in Africa, man. I told you, like I said earlier, they're out in Africa just fucking destabilizing the region further and causing all kinds of shit.
That's obviously being the bully, but maybe on more of an equals. I know America's way more powerful than Iran regarding the war machine, but still at the same time, it's going to be like Afghanistan, it's going to be like Iraq. A lot of people are going to die. Lots and lots of American troops and lots of Americans are going to die in this for what? And this time round, we're starting a brand new war. Is this what people want? I think generally the consensus within the States is like, fuck this, we can't keep doing this all the fucking time. Especially we're more globalized as a planet now. There's so many fucking Persians living in America as it is anyway. I mean, and then what? And the ones who are Americanized have been second generation who maybe join the military, have to go back to their motherland to kill fucking Iranians. I mean, they won't want to fucking do that for a start. I think it's going to be very complicated. I really do. I think going to war now is going to be more complicated than ever.
You'd think that if people actually thought about it, that should be the way it goes. And there is fatigue, like you said. And I bet, I'll put money on this. If there is a war, there will be an uptake in war movies where America, it won't be about the war that's going on right now. It'll be some past wars and past battles where America's shone. Just brainwash and help keep alive that American spirit, and we're doing it. It's for the right reasons, and we're gonna win.
I think it was Frankie Boyle who made the joke that that's the one thing, that's probably the worst thing about when America ever goes to war, is that 20 years later they'll come back and make a movie about how killing all your people made their soul all weepy.
Yeah, which is spot on.
Well, there are war films that are anti-war films like Platoon, Born on the 4th of July, which kind of shows you the less glamorous side of war and how it's not all it's meant to be.
But those movies don't come out when they're at war.
And those are few and far between.
Yeah.
Look at the Second World War. Hollywood was just turning them out so that people would sign up, that patriotism would spread.
The 80s was fucking neoliberalism on cocaine in terms of the American propaganda. Reagan government and how they worked with Hollywood to push out all these kind of these big action films where America #1, the big hero fighting against all the bad guys and all this kind of shit, to drive up conscription and to and pure propaganda to get people pumped up and patriotic and all this kind of shit.
We've also seen that in the last 15 years with regards to even the Middle Eastern conflicts. So movies like Jarhead, movies like the Hurt Locker, movies like American Sniper.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's a bit of that's a glorified film.
Absolutely.
Platoon.
I just want to say quickly. I get that, Vance. Yeah, but I want to quickly say Platoon actually caused a huge uproar when it first came out, because it was anti-war, and at the time this was during the Reagan period, and obviously everything was rah 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 America, and Platoon was like a kick in the teeth to them. Because they don't like it, but
movies like The Deer Hunter that dealt with the aftermath of war.
Oh, yeah, Deer Hunter is awesome. Jackknife as well, which is also a good one too.
Great films.
Yeah.
I just want to say,
I just
just
Sorry, go
to
on.
someone who commented saying that the military chases after the poor for recruits. That is very, very true. In particular,
Yep.
in the States,
Mhm.
you look at where the recruiting centers are and how, I couldn't put it into words or the words I would like to, but I think a lot of poverty is kept in place for several reasons, one of which is to keep the numbers up in the military.
It's the same
Poverty
with
is
the lack of
manufactured.
healthcare.
Yeah,
Same with the
poverty
lack
is
of healthcare as
manufactured.
well.
Yeah, it's manufactured
Because
because the whole system we live in is deliberately manufactured to keep you subverted, to keep you in your place, to not have you like feeling like there's hope,
yeah, to
so that
Well,
you're
segregate
there's
more
and
a
not
obedient.
chance of succeeding.
Herzberg's hierarchy of needs, I think it's called. And if you can't have the bottom rung or even the second rung, how do you go to the very top of that pyramid and do I'm horrible with words. Do introspection and
Introspection.
because you need a place to live, you need things to eat, and if you can't get those things, you can't get to the next level, and you can't get to the top of the pyramid where you have the security to question things and to fight against the injustice.
Yeah, well, now getting up that ladder is harder than it's ever been in history. Like upwards mobility is practically dead. The American dream is dead. The British equivalent is not far behind either. I mean, nepotism is fucking rife as well in terms of upwards mobility and power and all this kind of shit. So yeah,
Well, it's always kind of been like that. I always think of the school tie in Britain,
the what?
old school ties. The private schools or public schools.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you mean
Oh
like
yeah,
how like the
In
elite
public
in this
schools, yeah.
country predominantly went to places like Uxbridge or Eton.
yeah.
Yeah, our leaders, unfortunately, like Boris Johnson, and they're supposed to know, and people like Jacob Rees-Mogg, and they're supposed to understand regular people. They'll never know that.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like of a prime minister who didn't go to somewhere like Uxbridge and Eton, and the last one I can think of, really, maybe is John Major.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I think it was John Major.
And even if he didn't, everyone in the cabinet and everyone around him did. So.
Yeah, because John Major was a working class conservative. He actually worked as a bus conductor to pay his way into accounting school.
Yeah. Yeah. Saw the struggles and still became a fucking conservative. Go figure.
Just want to go to some of the comments. So I already mentioned Daniel Vance's one, but I also want to add that not just the poorly educated to Daniel Vance, it's also the fact that they don't want to have public health care because the only way you can probably get public health care is by joining the military, which is something they kind of realize, and that's why it's so difficult to get it in the States. We only have 7 years and we haven't been at war yet. Since your country's conception, war is all you guys have ever known. Nerdiverse, I was in the military because I was poor. The market towards people with few options. Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Totally correct.
I'll be
Daniel,
yeah, you said you see
Daniel.
Military recruiters going into schools in like the poorest areas in America.
Yeah.
They're not going to the places where kids are expected to go to Ivy League colleges.
Yep.
They're going to this.
Yep.
They're going to the slums. They're going to the ghettos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they get very easy to get radicalized and stuff, and think you have a purpose. Daniel Vance, it wasn't long ago that the first but the first Rambo movie as well, by the way, First Blood. That's also a great film, especially the ending when he talks about how he can't, he's like very end when he says he was like in charge of $1 million equipment. Now he can't get a job cleaning cars. Fantastic. It wasn't long ago that Rambo was fighting the Mujahideen. We make our own demons. Yeah, well, it's fun in a way, like where we change alliances constantly. And
it's strange. It's strange how the Rambo movies progressed. I mean, the first Rambo movie, as you pointed out, again, he was dealing with the aftermath of the Vietnam War, and the
Yeah.
fact that he couldn't integrate back into society. And what did they do after that with the Rambo movies?
War
Yeah, they made him into a
propaganda.
fucking nutcase.
You know what? I don't know if
Yeah.
you covered this while I was gone there briefly, but they also target people that have misdemeanors and they're given a choice, jail
Yes.
or the military. Oh, you did say that? Okay.
No, we didn't cover that, but
No,
I'm
we didn't
agreeing
say
with you there. We were well aware that yes, they get a lot of people who are potentially going to jail for misdemeanor crimes for anything, you know, from like 3 months to a year, and give them the option. It's, you know, join the military or go to prison.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why
Actually, yeah.
I preferred, you know, I was in the Army. I don't know if you guys know this.
Yeah.
I served
Yep.
just under 17 years before I had my catastrophic back injury. So the one thing I liked is I did recruit for a while. So I got to know the intricacies of the recruiting process that we have here. And there was a minimum standard, and we didn't go below that. You had to meet the criteria and, you know, be a thinking person. Because we're such a small military, probably not because, you know, for high ideals, but because we had such a small military, if you had a job, you had to be able to fill in. If 2 ranks above you get knocked off, you have to be smart enough to fill in for them. If you have a job as a rifleman, you also have to know how to use radios, how to drive trucks. Whereas bigger militaries in the United States, no word of a lie, I met a guy whose job was to change the tires on the Humvees. That was it.
And that was it.
Yeah. And I think that if I look back at my career, I ended as a sergeant. I held officers' positions several times because there was no one to fill them. And warrant officers and mass warrant officer positions. I knew how to use radio and, you know, very basic battles on section levels and platoon levels. I ran supply from anywhere from, you know, just down to a section up to a base level. I could drive every vehicle that we had in our fleet and do maintenance, daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly maintenance on them. I knew every small arm. I coached people on how to use those small arms and compete it. I didn't get very far. I mean, the competition's pretty high. But I did go to Ottawa for our international competition. We would shoot with Australians, Gurkhas, Brits, basically Commonwealth nations. And you
But
had
you
to
can make
know.
a move between the eyes if needed, though, right?
Yes. I just probably couldn't get it through the same spot twice like some of those guys.
You call yourself a military, says the guy that barely fired a gun ever.
Christine, your biggest flaw was the fact that your military didn't bring in Steven Seagal to teach you marksmanship.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know, you
saw how
when you shoot.
and you saw how cleanly he shot through the same hole in a target twice on Lawman.
I didn't see that.
There's no fucking
But
way he
we
could
did-
make that, is there?
We did
No,
have a
not
device-
at all.
We did have a device where, like at a competition as good as the one in Ottawa, you'd have this thing where people would get close to going through the same hole. So you could put it up against the marks and tell if it was just, you know, a quarter of a, you know, maybe millimeter or 2 off. So you could see that they were that close. So it was a hit. And, you know, I got a couple of those.
Sweet.
Never through the same hole. Fuck no.
I could kick your
Yeah,
ass
just to
at
get back to-
laser tag, but not at anything else.
We can make
Just to get
jokes
back to
about
the comments
Christine
here.
not getting in the same hole twice.
No, Christine,
Well,
you failed. You didn't get it in the same hole. That's what he said. He said,
Yay!
"Kind of a fucking point in
That's
the right
funny.
direction." How dumb am I?
Well, apparently they're going to cancel Social Security. I know the Republicans do, and it's amazing how many old people still vote for these motherfuckers,
I have a
even
way
though
down.
they're so desperate to fucking cancel it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
Nerdiverse says, sorry, go on. Were you gonna say something?
If Trump gets in, you've got Project 2025 that's gonna fucking hit America, and that's not a conspiratorial thing. That is we're gonna fuck up this nation and go full on Christo fascist. And
We'll see how. I mean, as much as that's the case, because Trump is a renowned failure at everything he does. We'll see how he pulls that off. Politics may seem dumb, but those people in Congress make laws and decisions that affect our lives.
I remember when the motherfucker I remember when the motherfucker tried to repeal Obamacare, and Republicans had control of everything, and they even told him, "Fuck no, you're not doing that." Like they had control of every fucking thing, and they were like, "No, because this would kill our fucking party if we did that."
Have you noticed that
what it's
whilst he's doing these
living
campaigns?
in Canada, when you live above the United States, it's like you live in an apartment and the people below you are meth addicts.
Yeah.
Canada is what America should be, in my opinion. But have you noticed recently, not recently, but this campaign of Trump's, that Melania is nowhere to be seen. She's probably disappeared into the fucking woodwork, and nobody's talking about that. The first lady doesn't want to be.
They're getting divorced.
Well, she's not been campaigning, but she's recently been seen. She was at the she was at the funeral for Jimmy Carter's wife.
Yeah.
But Trump wasn't there, was he?
Wife.
Trump wasn't there. Obama wasn't there.
Yeah,
George W. Bush wasn't there.
Yeah, so Trump wasn't there. She was. My point remains.
But again, hang on. Michelle Obama attended, but Barack didn't. Laura Bush attended. George W. didn't.
Because Barack. No, but I don't really give a fuck about that because Barack Obama is not running for president. I'm just saying,
Yeah, but again, I wouldn't take the funeral as proof that means that they're not together. Now, granted, I think probably at some point Melania is going to divorce Donald.
Campaigns, but I haven't seen any. He's on rallies and stuff. She's not even there. So there is something to that, and I'm not focusing on Barack and Michelle Obama because their time has come and done. Whilst Donald Trump wants another shot at the brass ring again. Regardless, Nerdiverse is saying Supreme Court, a collection of 9 random individuals, is way.
It's not so much 9 random individuals. I mean, it's presidential appointees, and 3 of them are Trump appointees.
Oh, it's so scary.
I just don't even like the idea of the Supreme Court. I think the whole idea of it is fucking stupid, personally.
I mean, we have a Supreme Court in this country, but they're appointed by we have a Supreme Court in this country, but they're appointed by other members of the judiciary. They're not appointed by the Prime Minister.
The president. The Supreme Court of the United States is one of the scariest bodies of power to me.
Well, they just repealed the abortion.
Do we have term limits on our Supreme Court, or they're for life? Trevor.
I think generally what happens. I don't think there is a term limit, but it's a case of again people do step down. No, I'm talking about the UK Supreme Court. But as far as the UK Supreme Court is concerned, again, I don't think there is a term limit. But again, it's based on the fact that these people are appointed by, they're recommended by other members of the judiciary. And if they are failing to do a job, they can also be removed from that position. It's not a job that you're in for life.
Yeah.
It should be no such thing as a job for life. No, there should. I mean, if you do a good job and you're work for a company, of course, you should work there forever as long as you're doing your job. But there shouldn't be an appointment in a government position that is guaranteed for life. That's what I should have said.
Right. So again, if you're failing your job, then absolutely, much like any employer would, there should be the right to have you removed from that job. That's not the case in many things, even over here in the UK. I mean, we have, for example, the House of Lords.
You have what?
Yeah.
We have the House of Lords.
Yeah, I was about to say about the House of
If you're
Lords,
appointed
those
to
guys are
that,
fucking
you're there for
fucked.
life.
Yeah, you're there
Those
for
guys
life.
speak more than
That-
fucking Joe
and
Biden.
that's just your friends putting you in there.
And aren't you born into one of your
No,
the
not
House of
anymore.
Lords? Aren't you also
You
born
get-
into those positions?
No.
You've got
Oh.
what's called hereditary peers. Those are people who inherit the titles and allow them to go into the House of Lords. But the majority of people who are in there have been appointed by prime ministers.
Okay.
I mean, we
They're
shouldn't have
supposed
to
to.
fucking waste of space.
I agree. It's an old people's home, mate. It's fucking worse than what's happening in the States when it comes to their elderly fucking
I
statesmen.
mean,
Sorry,
to the
West
fact
Man.
that we have a peer in this country who may or may not have participated in a big scandal. What was it like £1 billion that she pocketed from the government's money to do with PPE? During the whole COVID thing.
This is Michelle Mone you're talking about.
Yeah. She's literally a baroness.
I don't know what you said. I don't know what you just said.
Right, so Michelle Mone owns, I think it's either Agent Provocateur or
it's Ultimo. It's Ultimo Bras that she owns.
Yeah. Right, so
Michelle. If you want to carry on, Gary, go ahead.
She was made a peer, I think, in 2008. I want to say 9, and she's been there since. Now, her and her husband.
A peer. Okay, I was like, I don't know what you're saying. A pair. I was like, what?
No, a peer. She was given the title of Baroness Michelle Mone.
Okay.
Yeah. So her and her husband pocketed about $2 billion of UK tax dollars to produce PPE.
Not quite. The contract was 200 million, and they pocketed around 69 million themselves.
I got told $2 billion, because I got told that they got some of it through subsidiaries that they owned.
No, well, the one that they're being prosecuted for is 200 million pounds. They set up a company called PPE MedPro. Now they had no experience at all in providing PPE of any sort. They bought a bunch of PPE equipment, which was absolutely useless. They got a 200 million pound contract, and they delivered 120 million pounds worth of PPE, which was unfit for purpose. It had to be stored and then ultimately destroyed because, again, it wasn't fit for use.
But that was
so
they're
being prosecuted for fraud.
Every PPE loan that was practically given, it could be tied back to just being.
There were many of them. I mean,
billions.
We've seen PPE contracts go out to currency traders,
pub landlords.
We've seen them go, Matt Hancock's pub landlord got a contract.
Yep.
There was a company that they made netting for they made pigeon netting for exterminators.
Yeah.
And there was a sweet manufacturer as well. They got a massive contract for PPE.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, this.
I mean, the companies aren't. I understood and I sympathized with getting contracts to provide equipment. One was the whiskey industry, because the whiskey industry during COVID, they put their equipment to use to actually started manufacturing hand sanitizer.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, you're right.
And on top of that, you've also got companies like McLaren and Rolls-Royce, who were involved with the NHS, and unlike James Dyson, who thought he could just invent a brand new, James Dyson thought he could just invent this brand new ventilator out of the blue without consulting anybody in the NHS. Whereas McLaren and Rolls-Royce put their mechanical and engineering expertise to use, and they consulted with the NHS and said, "Okay, what do you need from us to build these ventilators?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, just to get to some more comments here, but I'm dying to respond to this one from Cheeto. Politicians are scary smart. They're confusing on purpose to keep us divided. Well, I would say half the problem is not necessarily smart. I think there's a lot of fucking idiots out there. who fall for their fucking propaganda. I mean, we have, unfortunately, in the States, for instance, MAGA, they worship a politician. They genuinely worship Donald Trump. And that's nothing smart at all, is that they're just fucking idiots. You should never worship a politician. You should always be holding them
Come
accountable.
on, Sam. Are you telling me they're a cult?
Yeah, well, cult, and you can change the L to an N. And
Wait. Hang on. You're saying we should never worship politicians. I mean, didn't we all, make an agreement when we signed up to this channel that we worshipped Enoch Powell?
Yeah, I mean,
that
that's
was
in my blood.
confidential. But but regarding this particular comment, unfortunately, there's a lot of idiots out there who are easily manipulated, and they want to be manipulated. They love this fucking roller coaster of fucking bullshit. You know, they love fucking having the piss taken out of them. They love being conned even and having all their money extracted because they just want to follow a fucking arsehole like Donald Trump. You know, he basically. Sorry, go on.
It just makes their life more comfortable to be told that they're right and everything's okay and that they're good people and these other people are bad. So they go on.
It's no, hold on, sorry. There's so much more to this now because since this MAGA shit started, the conspiracy theories are another level, and these guys actually believe in bullshit magic like RFK, sorry, not RFK, JFK or JFK Jr. is going to be resurrected and he's going to put Trump back into fucking power and all of this QAnon shit with all these fucking stupid beliefs they're having, you know, where Trump is like, some people feel that fucking Joe Biden is not real. He's played by an actor and fucking Obama is running the fucking country. I mean, we're dealing with people who just don't deal with reality. So it's not necessarily just to get to this comment regarding politicians being very smart. I totally disagree because I think a lot of us are here in this panel can see right through these politicians. I think there's a lot of fucking idiots out there who want to be manipulated by these politicians, especially like someone like Donald Trump, who's a fucking idiot, and he's manipulating fucking idiots. So let's not say that these politicians aren't necessarily smart.
I'm going to disagree with you slightly on that, Sam. Yes, look, there are a very, very high percentage of crazies who make up the core support of Donald Trump. I'm not disputing that at all. What I will say, MAGA gave people permission to be the worst that they could be.
I agree with that.
It gave people permission to be openly racist, to be openly anti-Semitic, to be openly sexist, to openly homophobic.
Oh yeah, my argument.
MAGA gave them permission for that. The other thing, though, I would say, is that Trump does what a lot of right-wing populists have been able to do very successfully over the years. They sell people easy solutions based on lies.
Yep.
So they will tell you that everything wrong is the fault of foreigners, or it's the fault of the Jews, or it's the fault of blacks, or the fault of the left, Muslims. There's a quote, I believe it was James O'Brien who said it, but I think it sums it up beautifully. It's easier to sell tickets to the ghost train than it is to the speak your weight machine. It's far, far easier to sell people a comforting lie than it is to give them a complicated truth.
Oh, I agree with all of that. I never said what you just said, but if I could have put that into my argument too, I would have, because I agree 100% with everything you just said. He's all of that, and he's able to bring out the worst in people. And we've seen that now, and it's scary how the world has changed because of people like him.
I just want to give a good example of that, how people are allowed to now voice and act upon these once were hidden beliefs of theirs that were, horrible, but at least they had very little impact in general. Well, not little impact, but less impact than they do now, because people are openly trying to ban books and are banning books and rewriting history. Slaves were indentured servants now in history books. And, slave masters were just bosses that were actually nice to their employees. And so many examples of rewriting. When that 4-year-old girl was one of the first children to go to a mixed school and how all those people were outside of that school protesting. Those people are still alive and living in Florida. And they had to keep their mouth shut until Trump came forward. And now all of a sudden they're out at school events trying to ban books and libraries. And it's disgusting the amount of hate.
The civil rights movement happened in the 60s. There's still people alive prior to that occurring. Yeah, they've been holding it in. They were like the good old days. I've always said, once was, I will never be the same. Like the world is constantly changing, and you can never go back to how things used to be. As much as you might want it to be, it's always going to, progress and be different.
Yeah, and that's everything. That's everything in life. That's movies, TV, video games, politics, whatever, you name it. It's never going to be the way it used to be.
And the thing is, I'm glad you kind of mentioned books, and you mentioned Florida, Christine. I presume you may have heard. I presume you've heard the story with regard to the co-founders of Moms for Liberty.
Yeah, those guys.
I heard that.
Yeah, the Christian and Bridget Ziegler, who Christian, I believe, has been accused of raping a woman at her home. And one of the allegations that's been made is from the accuser is that she was in a relationship, a consensual three-way relationship with these two, including where he has got recordings on his phone of his wife having sex with this woman.
But he's
you're not allowed to have a book. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to have a book. Like Heather's Two Mommies. But Moms for Liberty are allowed two mommies.
Oh,
yeah.
And not just do mommy stuff, but do mommy stuff. And I don't believe it for 1 second because they have family values. Come on. They are a family value-based organization. They believe in one father, one mother, and just sex for procreation. Really, come on. That was sarcasm.
I mean, the thing is, I really fucking hate the way the debate goes when it comes to books and whether or not to ban them. So, Moms for Liberty, for example, have wanted books with any kind of sexual connotation, and particularly when it comes to any kind of LGBTQ sexual connotation, taken out of public schools and libraries to prevent kids from turning gay.
Then take
Meanwhile, meanwhile, though, you've got other fucking people in the debate when it comes to books who say that, you can't take certain words out of books. You can't take this racial slur out, or you can't take this homophobic slur out of a book that was intended for children. Because that's censorship.
I think that as a person, I can pull whatever book I want off a shelf and I can read it, and that's up to me. And if you're a mom and you don't want your child to read a book, that's up to you. Don't tell other mummies and daddies, or daddies and daddies, or mummies and mummies what their children are allowed to read. Get the fuck out of their lives. It's none of your business.
Well, yeah, you remember as well the Dr. Seuss controversy when his estate decided that they were going to pull certain books of his because they contained outdated racist references that they just didn't think should be, viewed by children anymore. And the far right was immediately crying censorship.
Yeah,
I can easily point out to one of my favorite.
It's the corporation that did it, and you're the same people that are banging on about a corporation has a right, a private company has a right to do what it wants, and they chose to get rid of these certain books or phrases and things like that, and yet somehow it's the left's fault,
Yeah, and there's a book that I guarantee that several of us have probably had read to us when we were children on this panel that has been censored since 1973.
Diary of Anne Frank.
No. It's a children's book that I think probably,
way, which has been
probably several of us have had read to us, but it has been altered and changed since 1973. It was first published in 1952, and it was changed in 1973.
Lord of the Rings.
No, Thomas the Tank Engine.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
God.
Oh,
Fat
okay.
Controller.
One book. No, it wasn't the Fat Controller. It was one book in particular. It was the book Henry the Green Engine, and there was one story in particular that wound up being adapted into the very first season of the TV show. It was the story called Henry Sneeze. Now, just brief summary of the story. Some young boys drop stones off of a bridge onto Henry as he's passing through. This hits him, hits his driver and fireman, breaks the glass on his coaches. They decide they're going to get revenge by having Henry sneeze and blow soot and ash out of his funnel up at these kids on the bridge. So it happens, and in the original version of the book, reads that the boys ran home black as N-words.
Oh,
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Yeah. Now that was changed in 1973 by the author himself, Reverend Wilbur Awdry. He changed it to "They ran away as black as soot," and the reason he did that was because he got contacted by the parents of black children, who said, "Look, we love the story, but we can't read this."
Yeah.
yeah.
And he apologized profusely for ever putting it in. But you will
Right.
not find a
Where do you
version of
get
that book from. You will not find a version of that book from 1973 onwards that contains that that word. Hell, there were even
Wow,
audio recordings.
1973.
There were audio recordings of that book done in the 60s, where the people who read the book read the book to tape and to vinyl LP. They refused to say that word.
I
Yep.
bet Enoch Powell had a good wank over that story.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
I just want to say that
I guarantee you, if it was a case of that word had been in there, and let's say it had only been changed in let's say not even 1973, but 2003, the far right would be protesting and saying this is censorship. Keep the word
this
in.
is censorship. Yeah, we can't change history.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm
Well-
not going to be very well liked here, probably. I don't think there's, 99.999999% of the time I should refer to that word as the N word. But when you're taking a course to study the impact, the vulgarity, and the hate that word and the danger and the harm that caused in a university setting, when you're talking about history or literature, I think that's probably the one and only time, and not repeatedly used, but brought up, because it sort of takes away, when all we say the N word, the N word, the N word, it takes away the gravity of that word. So possibly, in my opinion, and I'm willing to change it if someone can argue, in that situation, I would say that's the one time where it could be used one time.
Yeah, for context purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
agree, Chris. Yeah, but I want to be able to say anything I want for this regarding regarding what my context is when I'm expressing myself saying that word, and the fact that I have to say the N word because I don't want to offend people who won't like me saying it personally, because then apparently I'm being racist when I'm not, because I believe context is everything. I think we live in a stupid world because of that, personally.
Look,
I
even
think we should be a lot smarter than that, in my opinion.
yeah, I mean, look, even at university, when I joined the Afro Caribbean Society, story behind that was basically two white girls got offended that there was such a society, and like, well, if you're white and you want to join, I was like, I'll go find out. So I went in, I said, can I join? They said, yeah, £5 membership, and that was that. One of the guys in there, who was a Nigerian American, he used to call me the honorary Greek N-word. And even I didn't ever want to repeat it, but he was always saying to me, don't worry about it, man. You're one of us. You can say the word. And I'm like, no, that's all right.
Yeah, let me not say that.
Although within our circle, it's fine. If somebody else hears that, I'm fucked. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have an issue saying the word, like if it's in a song, for example, and you're just doing like rap lyrics and all this kind of shit. But I'm not just going to say it for the sake of saying it, because despite what people like, despite your rhetoric on the damage it causes and all this kind of shit, for the average person on the outside, hearing that word can be just daggers to the heart, regardless of context. So, just keeping it to the N word, I think it just, until you get like the blessing to say, look, within the context, this and that, because that's just again
it's a
my
bit
own
weird because
opinion.
I won't say the word that references people from the Orient. I won't say the C word. I'm happy to say cracker and honky, no fucking problem for some bizarre reason. At the same time, I can say my word, packy. I can say fucking packy until the fucking cow come home because I'm a fucking packy myself. So I have no fucking problem saying that. It's just a weird fucking world we fucking live in. And
I think
I do
probably because there's no recent historical oppression of crackers, So
Well, the main reason I choose
I think of
not
stuff like
to
the
say
honky tonk man. Sorry. Like you got the right. I think of, like the word honky has always been used as a derogative word towards white people, but there was a wrestler I would refer to as the fucking honky tonk man for fucking years, and and no one shit. We've got Ritz crackers. I've been saying the word cracker and all of that stuff. There was a TV show with Robbie Coltrane, the late Robbie Coltrane, called Cracker. Or and all of these sort of things. Like these words were, So like it's just a bit weird. Like, and those words never felt off limit, even though they can be used as a derogative term towards white people. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, honky tonk was really more based on the actual style of music, which was honky tonk. So it wasn't really, using the honky word, as part of his name.
It's a bit like saying, it's a bit like saying Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know what I mean? I can say Arnold Schwarzenegger until the fucking cows come home, and no one think I'm being racist whatsoever.
Oh, you mean because of what Schwarzenegger translates into?
Yep.
Actually, I'm not sure about. Was that? Is that Black Stone or something like that?
That's what it translates to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, what I was going to say is
the reason means pig rider.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, again, what I was going to say was the reason I choose not to use, I choose to say the N word rather than the actual word itself, is because of the hateful rhetoric that generally it goes with. Is why I make a point. Generally, I will not say the F slur that's used about gay people. I will not use any of the slurs like the T slur that's been used, for example, in the court case recently of the two who have been who are on trial for murdering Breonna J. Again, it's her last name is pronounced J. Apparently,
was it? Oh right.
It's spelled It's spelled Ghey, so you would think her name is gay, but it's apparently pronounced J. But people used to bully her with calling her gay.
Hurts me, man. It still hurts me.
But I mean, again, the reason I choose not to use those words uncensored is because I don't want to repeat them, even in even when I'm quoting somebody, I don't want to repeat them in any kind of the same context of just hatred and fucking bile that they were used by the original person.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to quickly just jump back to books, by the way, because we were talking about books earlier, and I mentioned about book bans and stuff like that. And it's funny because there's two particular people who have brought out books, and they flopped big time. And one of them is Marjorie Taylor Greene, and the other
350 sales in 1 week.
Damn.
And but you have to understand. I mean, I wish Marjorie Taylor Greene would understand that people in her contingent, they don't fucking read books; they fucking burn them. You know what I mean? And a lot of them, if they don't burn the books, they don't know how to fucking read them. They don't even read their own.
They don't know how to read anyway. Yeah.
But here's the thing here's the thing though with Marjorie Taylor Greene's book. Typically, when a conservative brings out a book, then tens of thousands of copies just get bought by a couple of major corporations or conservative outlets. They'll buy tens of thousands of copies of these books in order to get it on the New York Times bestseller list.
Yep.
Yep.
Now, that didn't happen with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah.
So she, again, her first week of her book being out, she only sold about 350 copies.
Fucking A.
And the reviews are lovely.
It's bad. You know it's people hate you when corporations and friends that are rich won't buy your book to put you on the
Yeah, they're like, we don't need that shit. We ain't trying to read that here.
Guys, he's a despicable fucking human being. I want to just read up, get up to date with all the comments here. None of us actually pretty much said what I said. They do divide. It's not really smart and more manipulative. Some are smart. Steven Seagal, McDojo Life. I think that's something to do with earlier. Wake up, Gary. Wakey, wakey. Eggs and bakey.
I will wait, sister. Yeah.
Wake up, damn it.
No problem. No problem. I
Daniel.
would love for Trump to run on that platform. America would be actually great. I don't know what he must have mentioned a bit earlier that he
Move on. Get to the more
Okay.
newer one.
okay.
I have a
Sounds like
question
Austin
for a
Powell and
commenter.
Baroness Moan. Yeah, I'm thinking that. I haven't fallen asleep because I already had my afternoon nap. Xanta got PPE contract for the elves. Yeah. I'm going to treat them like that video.
Xanta's
you'll
got
see in the
Mrs. Claus
future.
on OnlyFans.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I
That's
fucking
also
don't.
Jose.
No, I
That's
fucking
Jose.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Yeet.
fucking don't. I would Thanos every motherfucker that ever said that. They would be gone. Everyone would be gone off this planet if they ever said yeet to me. I'd be like, bye. And then they'd be
Yeet.
out of here and they'd never come back. Yep. If I had it
Yes.
my way.
Okay, once again.
So what you're saying, Jose, is that you would yeet everyone out of existence.
And you, yes. Yep.
I have two questions now. One for a commenter. Why do those three words scare white people apparently? And what does yeet mean?
I don't know, but I hate it. I just hate it. I hate that
I don't know,
word.
it's one of these stupid
It's like a
words.
term for when you throw something. Like, get the
It
fuck
is.
out of here. Like, yeet it away.
It's these stupid words that
It's an
I'm
old
becoming
word.
fucking
It's
boomer
an old
on now.
word, but it's just regained popularity in the last decade.
Yeah, I would
Most
just
people
fucking
don't
just
care.
go. Yep.
I see
That was the
no,
first
Rigby,
time I
I
ever-
actually do agree. I actually agree with Rigby on this particular comment. You know, I'm not regarding and saying most people don't care. I'm not 100% agree with that bit, but we should be free to say whatever word we want. We should be, but unfortunately, the world is not like that. But I agree with that comment, and that half of the comment. Daniel Vance is the
No,
free
you,
most.
you are free. Look, the thing is, you are free to say that word. You're just not free from any consequences of it.
Yeah,
People
no,
are
that's
allowed-
what I'm
allowed
saying.
to-
That's
People are
what I
allowed to
meant.
distance themselves. Hey, look, people are allowed to distance themselves from you if you decide that you want to openly go out and say the N-word in public.
Yep.
No, it's not. I never said. No, I never said. I wasn't trying to refer to that. If you
No,
remember
I'm
what I said
addressing
earlier.
Rick B. Sam. I'm not
Yeah.
aiming this at you.
Yeah.
I'm addressing it at Rick B.
Yeah. I want to be able to say that if I wanted to describe a particular thing and they required me to say the N-word, I feel the context is everything. But unfortunately, I think some people will get triggered the moment I fucking say it. I know, for instance, Quentin Tarantino, he's used the N-word a lot in some of his movies, and certain people don't like that, who have not been in his films, whilst other people who are black have been in the films, don't care. And I know what's his name, Leonardo DiCaprio. He had to say the word a few times
When he did
in
Django, yeah. Yep.
yeah, and
Character.
he had to.
That's the character, not the person. And dude, you're allowed
No,
to
I
say
know that.
whatever
Yeah.
you want.
I'm totally
Yeah,
aware of
but
that. No, but the point
and,
is,
like,
he
it was already said.
Hang on,
You
let Sam get his point across first, and then we'll
Right.
Yeah,
come
yeah.
back.
Let me finish what I'm saying, Chris. I'm just saying that it was okay for Jamie Foxx actually gave him the green light, saying just fucking say it. And Samuel L. Jackson said just don't worry about it. Said it. I mean, prior to that, Samuel L. Jackson did, I think, The Hateful Eight, and he had people calling him the N word all the fucking time. They were totally cool with it because they understand the difference between reality and fiction, and they were obviously doing a dramatization. I've been watching a series called Lawman Bass Reeves, and there are white people saying the N-word in that as well. You know, I don't feel offended by it or offended for black people because a white person said it, and there's black people they're saying it to as well, and I'm sure they're totally fine with it because it's just fucking acting. Context is everything. You know what I mean? Context is everything. That's all I'm saying.
So what was this one? Custody versus and contact were words from a study done on family. The study mentions ownership as a trigger for these words with regard to divorce. Well, I mean, divorcing is just fucking a messy pile of shit anyway, so I'm not surprised.
Well, the thing is, the word like
just with regards to-
Hang on.
The people like. Let me just get this one in. People like to use the word redneck to describe people from my region of the US, but the thing with the word redneck, it doesn't represent all white people. Like the N-word does, all black people that is, but the word redneck doesn't represent all white people. It just represents a demographic of white people from a particular part of the US, as you said.
Yep.
So yeah.
And it's originates from people who used to work in the field and get burnt necks.
Yep.
So it was also a class of white people.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Space Karen is back in the news again. Can you guess for what? Foot, mouth, in it. Does he care? No. And the Zionists just not giving a fuck and just sucking him off, despite the rampant anti-Semitism that he's participated in, and the fucking site is harboring.
So, which story of his do you want to discuss first? Him telling advertisers to go fuck themselves, or him spreading Pizzagate?
His fucking simps were fucking sucking his dick over that shit. Go, look how cool he is.
The fact that
what a fucking...
what's still the funniest damn thing is it was something Shredder posted. Like, this was a long time ago when fucking Space Karen decided to waste $44 billion, and like Twitter lost a fuck ton of that. Like, it's not even worth that now. It's worth what? Like,
it's
billions?
It's valued at $19 billion is what it's currently valued at.
Damn.
And ever gonna get bought for that?
Half.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the fact that Twitter, when Musk bought it, 90% of their revenue came from advertising.
Yep. And now advertisers are pulling out. Like, they're like, nope, we don't need this shit here. We ain't trying to be here.
Yeah, there's a bunch more who have pulled out.
Quartering, giving him $500,000 quid.
Well, no, Quartering said he was going to give him $25,000. It was Tim Pool and Seth Dillon of the Babylon Bee, who both each pledged $250,000 worth of advertising over the next few months, whereas the annual advertising revenue from Apple was somewhere in the region of $100 million. So again, it's like as I've said I said last week. I mean, that them giving Elon Musk that money is like trying to piss out your house being on fire.
Yeah,
but yeah, what happened was
the New York Times.
Yes, it was the Deal Book conference, which I'm still amazed he was invited to that. He wasn't disinvited because he's regularly attacked the New York Times, and you would have thought after the anti-Semitic tweets that would have been it. They would have said, "Look, we don't want this guy. He's poisonous. We do not want him, attending this event." But he was still brought on. Now they did address in the interview that they did with him the anti-Semitic tweets. Musk is saying that he didn't intend for it to be anti-Semitic, and that he said it was one of the worst mistakes he ever made because he gave his detractors a loaded gun. Now, where he went further, though, was when he was asked about advertisers pulling out, and he said, "I hope they stop. Don't advertise." Now, that'd be bad enough, but Musk just can't help himself. No. He decided to put a foot in it, and then he said, "If you're going to threaten me, hang on, I've got the quote here, actually. He says, if someone's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself." And then he paused and then did it again slowly. He just went, "Go fuck yourself." And then he waved out to Bob Iger. He waved to fucking Bob Iger in the crowd.
He really wanted a reaction from the people in the crowd to back him, and
Yeah,
You
there was
hardly
some
got any
awkward
reaction.
laughter. There was some
Yeah.
awkward laughter, and that was it.
Oh my god.
That guy is a walking
Yeah, so-
catastrophe. I hope
I mean,
he's actually bankrupt Tesla as well.
well, here's the thing: Media Matters. You know who he's suing. Their lawyers must have been rubbing their hands in glee, thinking, "Well, wait a minute. He's suing Media Matters, saying that they're driving away advertisers. Here he is on stage with the New York
Literally
Times,
telling them to go fuck
telling
themselves.
advertisers, "I don't want you. Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, I mean the CEO of Twitter, the person that's running it at the moment, she probably just sat there going, "I'm going to fucking kill myself."
Linda,
Where'd you kill myself?
Linda Yaccarino gets $6 million a year as the CEO of Twitter. How much of that budget do you think is going on wine?
Yeah. It's gonna be over
Well,
the
white
day.
lightning, mate. That's
It's
what
gonna
you
be.
need.
It's really gonna fucking take a hit when they start
Yeah,
doing
but
this.
Simpson
It's
and
really
a
gonna
lot-
take a hit when they start charging too, because it's coming. They're gonna start charging us
yeah.
all pretty soon to have it. And when they
Yeah,
do,
he's
I'm like,
gonna
fuck
start
this, I'm
charging
out.
somebody, not me.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Here-
luckily,
But here's the thing as well. He's also done more on Twitter since to piss off advertisers and drive them away because he's relitigating Pizzagate and saying it was real.
God. Oh my god.
Yes.
I have
Oh my
never
god.
Yeah.
figured out. Yay, me.
Motherfucker.
Its
Motherfucker.
justification for it is because an investigative journalist for I think it was MSNBC they pleaded guilty back in July to possession of child pornography, and that's his proof, as far as he's concerned, that Pizzagate's real.
It's totally misconstructed. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
know.
the motherfucker said I could give $6 billion away to end world hunger, and yet you go and waste $44 billion on Twitter, and most of that you're never going to see again, and you just fucking moron.
yeah. Well,
Who was it?
Yeah,
Who was it who?
$44 billion and still be the richest man in the world.
Yeah.
Kind of shows you how much
it
money
wasn't
he
all
has
his
actually
money, but he
got.
used other financiers to
Yeah,
help
yeah,
buy.
no doubt.
And they're going to sue the
Yeah,
fuck
no,
out of him once he destroys that company.
Oh yeah.
Guys,
Oh yeah,
I was going to say, who was it who he challenged to say, "Oh, you say that me giving this amount away would show me the maths," and I think somebody actually did show him the actual breakdown of everything, and he still didn't fucking do it because he actually said he would do it if somebody did it.
I can't remember, but yeah, I remember somebody shining the maths on how much it cost to work to get hunger.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
Elon.
he's also, by the way,
Is
tried
it-
to bullshit his audience when it comes to Cybertruck yet again.
Mm.
Well, a lot of his audience are fucking idiots. No offense, Cheeto.
Now,
And
you
they'll
go-
fucking believe
do you
him
go-
no matter what he does.
well, do you guys recall the test in 2019 where he was claiming that the glass on the Cybertruck windows was going to be bulletproof and unbreakable?
Yes.
Yeah, everyone remembers that.
Right. Yeah, where somebody threw a steel ball at the windows on one side of the Cybertruck and it just shattered them.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
He decided just before Cybertruck launched this weekend, he was going to redo that test and prove that the windows were unbreakable. Except he didn't use a steel ball this time; he used a baseball,
Oh, great.
Okay.
Yeah. which nowhere near as solid as that steel ball. And modern car windows, if you just gently lob a baseball at them, typically will not break.
No, that's
Yeah.
right.
And is that what he did? He just
Yeah.
gently underarmed it.
Oh my god.
I'll get the clip from BBC and I'll
Please,
link
I'm
it to
desperate
Panny.
to see it.
So
Once you do that,
I'll get the two clips actually because it's an interesting comparison. So
No, but let's get some of the more comments going on here, fellas. Custody versus contact were words from a study.
I've
done
read
at
that one
Cambridge.
already.
Read that one
I'm
already.
sorry.
Come on, man. You really frustrate me with the comments, dude. Just
When
like
do
don't
you
worry.
fucking read this shit? I am here and I don't even fucking know.
I don't need to
All right,
read
I'm
it.
not-
Like, I'll read it if it's relevant. Most of it's not relevant.
But
It's
I,
not really-
I would take
Have
the
you read that
read.
one?
Sorry.
Have you read that one?
Again, don't need to read it. It's not relevant. We've moved on.
Yeah.
We're on Space Karen now.
Okay, well,
Oh wait, hang
Okay.
on. I don't even need to get like two
And
videos.
he-
So I'm
he-
gonna link. I'm gonna
Greg B
link.
loves Elon Musk.
I'm gonna link an article to you just now, Panny. This is from the BBC, and they have both videos and both clips from both tests in the same video. Very very short video, but you see
You-
the
So I just wanna-
comparison. So
Why is you doing that? I just want to quickly respond to this. Windows can't be unbreakable for a case of emergency, but doesn't like the United States, his vehicle has like unbreakable glass, bulletproof glass.
Bulletproof.
yeah, it's supposed to be bulletproof and unbreakable for doomsday prepper fuckwits like Tim Pool.
Yeah. Okay, what's the name of the president's car? The Bull or something like that, isn't it? Because like when Biden came to England for the Queen's funeral,
Oh yeah, I can't remember
he
exactly.
had his car. He brought his car with him.
Anyway, the limousine also has a rocket launcher.
Can't hear you, Christine. Yeah,
Can't hear you.
Over the mic.
Rocket launchers in the limousine as well. There's small rocket launchers. It won't hurt it.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Now you may remember an incident 4 years ago.
Yeah, we all remember that one.
Didn't
God, I hate
quite
him
go as
already.
planned.
So this was the original demo
Yeah.
with a steel ball,
Yep.
Well,
and again,
maybe that was a little too
he was
hard.
claiming that glass was unbreakable.
That was a little
so
too
rich.
hard. My God. 3-year-old harder than that.
It didn't go through. So that's a plus side.
It didn't go through.
Really?
If he was smart, he would say, "Look, there you go, my proof. There's the proof. It's unbreakable."
Franz, maybe we should try it again.
Yeah, but notice the ball he's
Yeah,
holding. It's not a steel ball this
Oh
time.
man, look at all these fucking simps in the audience.
Oh my god! That's the weakest self-made thought I've ever seen in my
Still
life.
have a pro pitch
Yeah.
record.
This was his,
It'll work.
and this was his idea
It's,
of
there's-
recreating the
glass is
test.
tough, basically. That's what we're saying.
Good Lord.
You could even see that he didn't throw it as hard. It was
Mm-mm.
different balls.
He gave it one of those like kind of throws, like one of those like
I see
sissy little
some
girl
folds.
throws.
And that baseball needs to be checked as well.
Greater force.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
again, remember,
ridiculous.
he sold the idea that the car is bulletproof by having it fired into with
and
rounds from a top.
Yeah, or
Took him 4
round-
years to resolve the
Yeah,
issue.
you're right.
Fucking idiot. I hate him so fucking much.
It's a sexy looking
I really
vehicle.
do.
Listen, I'm not going to disagree. I like the look of it because the weirder a vehicle looks, the more I'm in. But it's just a hunk of useless shite.
It looks it looks uncomfortable to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
that vehicle looks horrible.
That vehicle is sexy if you find the contours of Crichton from Red Dwarf sexy.
I do.
Yeah, for sure.
Shame me. You coming on here kink shaming me just because I like Crichton and weird Tesla trucks. I'm rock and roll, baby.
I love
no,
that.
but I like the
reference
weirder
to
something
Red
looks, the
Dwarf.
more I kind of have an affinity for it. Christine.
I was just gonna say I really liked and enjoyed the reference to Red Dwarf. I haven't
Yeah, that
thought of
was
that show in a long time.
that was solid. Yeah, that's a good reference to be fair. Yeah, and on the flip side of the of it, he went on a nice world tour of the sadistic massacreists that are in Israel, and they welcomed him with with open arms because the reality is
Oh.
they
And
You
he
know,
went
they
so
don't
much
give a
fucking
fuck about
further. I
us.
mean, he's talking about literal forced education of Palestinian people.
yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
What? Where?
Yeah.
What?
Musk, he was in Israel. He met Bibi Netanyahu in Israel, and he was talking openly about the forced re-education of the Palestinians so that they would not be aggressive towards Israel again.
Which it would never fucking work. That's just ridiculous.
No.
But yeah, the
Well,
guy's a
and
complete
it's
evil
morally,
fuck.
completely morally wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
and by the way, like people like people like Andrew Tate on Twitter has been backing up Musk because he told Disney to go fuck themselves or told people advertisers to go fuck themselves. But at the same time, whilst he's backing Musk, and Tate is also pro-Palestine, he should be disgusted by Musk for him basically cucking to Israel the way he has. But Tate hasn't said shit about that, and it kind of just goes to show that he really stands for fucking nothing other than fucking people kissing his ass. That's Andrew Tate,
Well, again,
as well as Elon Musk. To tell you the truth.
Are you really surprised by that though? At the same time,
No, I'm
Yeah,
not.
I mean-
I'm not. Well, I mean, he converted to Islam, and I thought maybe he would have a particular stance and stick to it, and he has to a degree. But this moment here kind of exposed him for being a charlatan that we've all known him to be, and it just reminded me again. That's all.
again, is anyone really surprised?
Converted?
Tate recently said he thinks you're
Yeah,
a fucking
convert to
beta
Islam,
if you have to eat food.
yeah.
Yeah, he said books are for losers, and education's for the weak, and yet the guy has fucking lawyers trying to keep him out of jail, and but they've obviously read books and educated themselves, and he himself has a book of his own. So try and spin that one, you know what I mean? So
I'm calling
Oh,
bullshit.
God.
His book was probably written by ChatGPT because I don't think Andrew Tate has ever read a book, let alone fucking written one.
no, I'm sure somebody ghostwrote the book for him. But the point is, he's trying to sell a book, even though he says books are for fucking losers. He's bragging about never reading a book in his life. He's obviously, advertising himself to the lowest common denominator of people. It's just really fucking sad, and so many people love this guy.
He doesn't even know his own audience because he's trying to look all sophisticated and educated and scientific. And then he turns around and says, books are for chumps. Like, who's your audience?
Whoever
just wants a reaction.
sells.
That's what he
He
wants.
Yep.
He's a troll for the most part. He just wants
Yep.
to provoke reaction from people,
Mhm.
So he'll just say the stupidest fucking shit.
I don't care if they love me. I don't care if they love me or hate me. I just want you to react to me. Give me
Yeah,
my
yeah,
give me my attention.
We've got a member of his audience in the chat, Rick B. So that's the kind of person that Andrew Tate appeals to. I mean,
Yeah.
Andrew Tate is basically Roosh V with a gym membership.
It's almost been a year since he went to jail because he went to jail early
Yep.
January. I remember that, and he's still not allowed to leave Romania. He's still stuck in that country. But do you guys
he's
know
under
when his court date will arrive? No, he's not under house arrest. He's under country arrest or whatever. But do you guys know when he'll finally get his day in court? Because these court issues feel like forever.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know what the Romanian justice system is like. Not that ours is any better. But anyway, just quickly, George Santos, the man who's
Oh, yes.
never-ending world of entertainment, has been expelled from the U.S. House. And, I've got the article here. Let me put it up.
Is that the guy who said he couldn't be interviewed because he was holding a baby?
Yeah, he
said a lot of
says that
he said a lot of
Jewish.
things.
He's Jewish.
Well, he's a liar.
He
He's
said
not
a lot.
Jewish,
Of
he's
things.
Jewish.
Yeah, he's a chronic. He is a compulsive
He's a
liar.
compulsive-
Like, can't help but lie.
Yeah, like
So
Donald Trump.
yeah, he's a compulsive liar. He basically, what he did is he pissed off the donors. Let's be honest. He pissed off donors because he pissed their money away on fucking Botox, OnlyFans, designer fashion, and personal purchases. So
Are
it's
you,
only
sure,
really
are you sure that's George Santos' expenses and not Zam's?
well,
That is my expense.
Sam loves his designer. You should have seen the
Designer
wonderful pair of
dildos.
trousers he wore in the cinema. I want that fucking pair of trousers, by the way.
I'm wearing them right now.
Oh, there you go. Show them on the stream. Hang on. Let me stop sharing this. Get your leg up. Star Wars fucking swag. Hang on. Look at that. I'm not joking when I say I want these.
Assemble.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we
Yeah.
go, baby.
Swag City. But George Santos, like he was very entertaining. You know, it cracks me up because like the Democrats didn't even fucking bother looking into this guy. They didn't even bother running anyone in his district. They're like, whatever, man. And he won because he's New York. And it's just funny. Like 3 different names, the constant fucking lying, just yeah. But he is basically, you know, Trump personified in terms of the people running in the Republican Party. So he's only been ousted because he pissed off the donors and he spent their money. You know,
Well,
He
he
literally-
was a massive embarrassment to the Republican Party. They were sick and tired of having to answer questions about him, especially
Exactly.
after the ethics committee report.
yeah, but he's still
He's a
tamed
massive embarrassment. It's crazy. He's only
Saying
you think of all the
Green and
embarrassments they have,
Lauren
and he's the one.
tame in comparison.
Oh yeah, look again. There's plenty of people in the Republican Party that you would think would have been expelled by now. Matt Gaetz being
Yeah.
one, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren
He's a fucking
Boebert,
pedophile.
Clay Higgins would be another one.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, you know, so they got sick of him. How long before they get sick of Lauren Boebert? Mind you, she's not winning in her re-election. I know she's yours, isn't she, Jose? You voted for her.
Boebert, that's who we
Yeah.
got. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's not in my district though, so I don't know. But it'll be fucking interesting to see what's going to happen by this time next year. I just can't wait
Oh,
for it
come
to be
on.
over already.
Come
Oh,
on, she's got a firm grasp of things.
No, yeah, she definitely does.
Oh yeah,
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 but
I know what you mean
if you
there.
really-
Yeah,
Yeah, of it.
Jose, if you re-elect Lauren Boebert, trust me, you'll have a happy ending.
yeah.
Right.
If she doesn't get elected, you'll just go to any local theater. You can find her there. Boom.
Boom.
But she's gonna have a career outside of politics.
Oh, yeah,
She'll be
Yeah, she'll have
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah, I reckon she'll be working on a farm as a milkmaid.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. She'll be on OnlyFans.
yeah, she'll be
Well,
on OnlyFans
She would do
soon
what
enough.
Fitzgerald Tweed used to do back in the 90s and they did those like really soft porn. That's what she was doing. Yeah, hand jobs at door or something like that.
And
She'll
jobs at dawn.
She'll be calling up. She'll be calling up Monica Lewinsky like, "Yo, what do I do?"
Well, then she's got to start her own handbag
Yeah,
company. Fail at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Bye, George Santos. You were great fun. Okay, so we have the Daily Wire, who has gifted us with yet more stupidity in their latest film, Lady Ballers, which has blown us all away. We all can't wait to see it. We're going to have a big viewing party right here on NerdTube. And we're going to laugh like crazy and love it the entire way. Have
What
you
is
guys
it?
seen the what?
What is Lady Ballers?
So-
Think Joanna Man, but more transphobia and no actual jokes.
Beyond.
Oh,
So
Ouch.
basically, the premise is that a failed high school team puts themselves onto the court with legitimate female high school basketball teams
No,
and
not
starts
high
to
school.
dominate.
I don't think it's high school.
Or college or something, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, something like that. Or just
Yeah,
general.
it's fucking ridiculous anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's not how trans works.
That's how what works?
That's not how
So
no,
trans
that's not-
basically, to
not-
yeah,
explain
I
it,
don't
to explain it better, it's you know, it's in the sense that the men's team suck, and so they all pretend to be women to try and get further in sports.
To win.
Yeah,
oh my
I've
god!
actually done
Uh,
Chris and Jose. I've actually done a trailer reaction
Mm.
to that trailer, and it's on NerdTube.
Okay, I'll watch
Right
it when
now,
I'm.
and
I'll watch it when I'm
It-
done
it's
here.
depressingly
Okay.
unfunny. But
Okay.
all of you would have thought the entire Daily Wire subscriber base ended up commenting on the fucking video because they're all
Yes.
going about how great it was. Let me tell you something. That type of comedy is like there's something about Mary, you know, and all that sort of. It's trying to be like that, but that was like in the late '90s, for fuck's sake. That comedy doesn't work today, and even then, when something about Mary did it, it was a lot smarter. It was a lot wittier. This shit is straight out transphobic, and it's 100% agenda driven as well. From the people who have an issue with agendas being in films they consider to be fucking woke, they themselves have made an agenda fucking movie. So like the irony is totally lost on these fucking idiots. And if you see the cast, it's pretty much the entire fucking people who work on the Daily Wire, you know. And then you got like there's one clip with Ted Cruz, and he's in there for a start. Ted Cruz should make anybody not want to see this fucking film. Why the fuck would you want to put Ted Cruz in? Even the fucking conservatives don't fucking like him. But when you see the joke in the trailer, you don't know what the fuck the joke is. Like there's no reference to the actual fucking joke in the trailer with Ted Cruz. Like you don't understand what's supposed to be so funny.
You just have to lady if you can sit there.
I've got no interest to see this when you started talking about it 15 minutes ago. So I'm like, I really don't give a damn one way or the other. I'm like, I don't care.
It's just that we got like I've been downvoted to fuck on that video. I think I've got 8 upvotes and 22 downvotes.
Jesus.
And I'm a little bit, and majority of the people who commented are all like on board the gravy train of this fucking film. They can't wait for it to come out and stuff like that. And they are so insistent on it that other people who posted negative comments, like Ginger, like Block and Boss Man, they've had to respond to them as well. That how dare you say something negative? It's going to be a great fucking comedy. You got to fucking like it.
Oh
You're
God,
triggered and all of that shit.
All right, I gotta go watch this shit right.
Well,
I gotta go watch this shit right now just to see what the fuck people are talking about.
Yeah.
Right, there were a couple of things that I immediately thought of once the backlash happened as well. You had one guy, for example, commenting about how there were 12 states where movie theaters were offering to host a premiere for this piece of shit.
Are they?
Now,
yes.
Yeah, there was a video. Well, there was a comment on your video where supposedly 12 states, had movie theaters offering to host a premiere. But here's the thing, right?
But are they actually doing
No, the Daily. This is going to be exclusive in Daily Wire Plus. I mean, the Daily Wire's previous movie was Terror on the Prairie, and that was like Gina Carano's first big movie ever since she got fired from Disney. That film made $13,000 worldwide at the box office. So there's no fucking way that
and there was a chunk of right wingers that called that film woke, by the way.
Yeah, they called that film woke because there's this woman killing all these men.
Strong woman.
Yeah. But then, and the funny thing is, when Gina Carano first came on the screen in Mandalorian, all the fucking Phantom Menace lot didn't like it because strong woman once again. But then they found out that she was transphobic and stuff like that, and they fucking fell in love with her.
Yeah, I mean, there's all posts from The Quartering where he says that he finds muscular women disgusting, and then all of a sudden once Gina Carano was in the news, for being a massive transphobe, he suddenly decided he was a fan of thick mommies.
Yeah, just whoever bats for my tribe, I'm in. But if they don't, I'm out. They're just unprincipled fuckwits.
But the other thing, just to quickly carry on, but the other thing that came up, I think it was Agent Adout who mentioned this. The Daily Wire is spending money to advertise this, and they're advertising this on the YouTube videos of channels like CNN. Now, I personally am okay with this. I know there's some people who would be upset by it, but I'm personally okay with this because the average viewer of a CNN video does not give a fuck about Ben Shapiro at the Daily Wire. So I am more than happy for them to piss away money advertising at outlets to audiences who just don't care for their shit. To me, it's gonna be pretty much like when back in 2019, Kevin Smith spammed advertising across Pornhub for the Jay and Silent Bob reboot movie. Because 29. Yeah, 2019. To promote Jay and Silent Bob reboot, Kevin Smith bought advertising on Pornhub, so they had banners with the film at the top of the page, and also before every video played was a trailer for Jay and Silent Bob reboot. And what happened to that movie? $10 million production budget, $4 million at the box office.
Bombed. Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
shit film anyway.
But you know, like with the thing with the Daily Wire and stuff like that, they like to come across as pure, obviously, right wing Christian evangelical types at times. I know obviously Shapiro's Jewish and stuff like that, but he's in a similar boat when it comes to that purity thing. Obviously, he can't get his wife wet. So when you're watching this fucking trailer and you see and you see the adult jokes in this trailer, there's dick jokes and sexual jokes and stuff like that. It kind of goes against the narrative of what the Daily Wire is as a society, as a culture. And I find that a bit weird too, having these sort of raunchy jokes and these dick jokes and shit like that, made by a bunch of people who frown upon these sort of things. I mean, we're talking about, him getting upset with the wet ass pussy and shit like that. And here's fucking Ben Shapiro being involved in something where there's a blatant fucking dick joke. It's just ridiculous. It's just it's so hypocritical. I'm not surprised.
Exactly.
They're hypocritical.
Exactly. You said it. They're hypocritical.
Yeah.
And I literally call it the most triggering comedy of the year.
Yeah, the Daily Wire
will
marketed
trigger
this by
people.
saying that this kind of movie's never been made before. It has. Joanna Man and Ladybugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And I said in my reaction as well that I actually have no problem when it comes to making fun of people if it's done cleverly, witty, and it's smart humor. But this is straight out slander and this is just straight out hate. It's purely
with an
hate.
agenda tied behind it. I mean, I don't care. Look, if you want to make your fucking film, that's fine. I don't really give a shit. It's just that it's when it's agenda driven, wrong reasons that it's just like just fuck off. Yeah, and you figured you're trying to get more of a rise from liberals and the left than you are your own audience and all this. You just want that attention because we're going to talk about it and all this kind of shit. But the reality is, when it comes out, nobody's going to fucking watch it. Nobody's going to watch it.
Yeah.
You spend all that money. Sorry, go on, guys.
The production quality and the filmmaking is utter shit. Let's just the foundations are like, it's really badly shot. It's really badly framing, lighting and everything. Oh, the production cost. I mean, I don't know where this budget went. It didn't go on any of that crap.
Well, it's full of Bossman. It's full of like people like Brett Cooper and Michael Knowles and is it Jeremy Boring? And these guys are all failed
Jerry
actors.
Boring,
Ben Shapiro is a film screenwriter. This is their shot at Hollywood now because they were never able to get into Hollywood the way they wanted to. They were ousted. And so this is the only way they can do it now, by making shit like this. Oh god.
It looks like
the Snow White. The Snow White. Yeah, it does. The Snow White in the Room is actually fantastic, by the way. But Snow White, when that comes out by Daily Wire,
Wednesday, it's Friday.
Yeah,
I'm the world leader. Cool, good to know. Thanks for letting us know. But whatever, man. They're gonna bring it out. They're gonna bring it out. I don't give a fuck about I'd never say you should be banned from making anything. Make what you want to make. If there's an audience there for that, good luck to them.
No one was saying ban them, but they can be criticized, which is what we did.
Oh yeah,
and
they're going to claim success either way. I mean, this movie could cost them, several $1 million. They will claim success, much like when Nostalgia Critic used to used to have the members of Channel Awesome make a movie every year, and you didn't know what the actual numbers were that they got in returns because unless you were watching it on YouTube. When they had it on their subscription only service, exclusive to their subscribed backers, you didn't know what the actual numbers were. We will never know what the total number of viewers that the Daily Wire gets for this. So they will just claim success no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, Riley Gaines is in this as well, and she kind of her claim to fame was that she tied, didn't even lose, she tied with a trans person in a swimming race, and they tied fifth, for fuck's
Yeah.
sake. So the person who was trans, who she tied with, was fifth. That person didn't even get a fucking podium place, and yet they're complaining about trans people being involved in other sports. It's just in women's sports and stuff like that, and they have no problem. And there have been actually trans men involved in men's sports, and they've been very successful. But no one's saying shit about that.
Because
Yeah,
it doesn't
I mean,
fit into the narrative.
Somebody
Even-
brought up
even
in
if
the
they-
replies. Somebody brought up in the replies to the video a case about a woman taking a spot. Well, say about a trans girl taking a spot from another cisgender girl, and I figured out who it was. Actually, they were talking about a high school runner called Athena Ryan, who's a cross country runner. She placed second in high school. She went to the state championships. She came 17th. So she's been beaten by 16 cisgendered women. You know, exactly who is she taking a podium spot from?
Yeah, exactly. And I just
Exactly,
want to. Sorry, I just want to say one thing. One thing is okay. In my school, we're talking back in the 90s when I went to school. We were the only ones that had a female player on our team, and she was just as good as the boys. She was also on track and field the third fastest in the school, and she competed with the boys because she was too good against the girls. So this whole thing is like sometimes, like I always have in certain areas. I think some things shouldn't be gendered in sports and some things should, but it also. You should also be what's the word? Judged on your capabilities. So if you're too phenomenal for one section, you can move into another like section if you feel like you want to compete and all this kind of shit. But what I mean to say is like we didn't care back then. Nobody cared back then. And the fact that they make it such a big issue now, again, it's just politically motivated. Obviously, because they don't give a fuck about women's sports. They don't give a fuck about women. Like these are the same people that want to ban women's reproductive rights. Christine, go on, because you got your hand up.
Thank you. I was just gonna say earlier we were talking about the revenue for this film. Even if they do really poorly, that's an advantage for them because then they'll say that it was because the left attacked them, and then they'll make money from the news reporting on it and getting commercials for the Daily Wire.
Normally that
riling
would work, but
Forum.
it's exclusive to their subscribers. It's not coming out in theaters. Yeah.
No.
I also don't think Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Jeremy Boring, etc., would want to promote the fact that this movie flopped if it does. They will
Okay.
claim
Yeah.
success no matter what.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also, by the way,
All right.
regarding trans people in sports, famously in the news, a trans person who was a trans woman who was in the London Marathon, I think, came and beat maybe 3,000 people ahead of them in the marathon, and that was the narrative used in the papers, the right-wing papers. But they didn't acknowledge the fact that this person ended up still losing to like 15,000 other people ahead of that person.
Yeah.
So, so like they never mentioned that. They just mentioned the fact that they were ahead of 3,000 other people, even though they lost by 50. Even though that person came in like 15,000 place. So this shit is just so misinformed. And by the way, Wednesday, we are a channel that talks about superheroes and stuff like that, but we're just being a bit political as we do on Fridays. Join us on Wednesdays though. You might find something you like.
Be right back.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so moving on. What was this other one? Jingle Smells. What's that one?
Yeah, I want to show you guys the trailer for that, by the way.
All right, yeah, whip it out, big boy.
I pulled up.
All right, good.
I don't know what this is, so no spoilers.
Please
I
don't
don't know
about
encourage
it
Zam
either.
to whip it out on stream. We do
I
not
don't
want this turning
is
into a Dark Side Phil live stream.
You
just tell Ben on King
you say that, but secretly you want me to get it out.
Oh, by the
all
way,
right.
this thing's muted.
Yeah, sorry, let's put it on. Okay, shall we wait for Chris or shall we get the show on the road?
Let's wait for Chris. Let's wait for Chris.
Okay. Well, this is one of these other. This particular film, by the way, apparently has the involvement of Tucker Carlson, and it has one half of the boys from fucking the Dukes of Hazzard, the same guy who plays Clark Kent's dad, Jonathan Kent in Smallville. He's in this.
God, really?
Yeah.
And I thought the worst. I thought the worst Christmas movie I might actually see this year will be Candy Cane Lane with Eddie Murphy.
What's that one?
Yeah.
It's on Amazon. It's a new Christmas movie Eddie Murphy's done called Candy Cane Lane.
What's it about?
I've not read the synopsis for it yet, but the reviews of it have been utterly scathing so far. It's a shame. It's a shame remembering Eddie Murphy did fucking Dolomite Is My Name, and now he's back to doing the kind of thing like Pluto Nash.
Thank you. Exactly. I was just about to say that. Like, the guy comes roaring back with Dolomite Is My Name, which is one of my favorite Eddie Murphy films now, because it's a great film. And then he goes and veers off and does stupid shit like You People and obviously this. You know, it's just fuck's sake.
Again, it's like Adam Sandler did that. Adam Sandler did that movie on Netflix. What was it called? Was it Blood Diamond or Uncut Gems? Uncut Gems. He did Uncut Gems. He was fucking phenomenal in that, and then he goes back to making shitty comedies.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he's known for, isn't he? So.
House.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, you guys ready for this shitty trailer? Let's rock and roll.
Yeah, already.
You know, it's very hard to find a place that even comes close to being worthy of your beauty.
It's romantic.
It's about you and me alone.
Wow, look at the two of you.
Merry Christmas, America. Hollywood has canceled Mason Stone.
Stone will be digitally replaced by AI.
Boycott Stone!
We will no longer be manufacturing Mason
Stone
characters.
Get them all out of here by Christmas Eve.
You gotta be kidding me.
How'd you get it? Oh, fell off the truck.
There was a truck.
Oh my God.
I struck again.
If you busted with those toys, you're done. And you made me an accessory.
Well, you know what they say. Some accessories are required.
Am I smiling?
No.
Jingle smells, stinking all the way.
They called me Jingle Smells.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, it's on Rumble as well.
What the fuck is that? I mean, it's got a cast on it as well, but what the fuck is that?
How the fuck have you made a Christmas? How in the fuck have you made a trailer for a Christmas movie that makes Hallmark look professional?
Yeah, that was just a terrible trailer. Like, Sam, did you make that trailer?
I'm confused.
I did. But look, at least I'll say this.
Someone asked ChatGPT to make a Christmas movie trailer.
I don't know what the whole synopsis is of this film, but it didn't feel remotely like Lady Ballers, where it felt like it had there was like an agenda to it. I don't know really what it's all about, but it felt reasonably innocent, even though it's got Tucker Carlson's involvement in it.
Sean Hannity.
And it had people like Eric Roberts. Eric Roberts, is in this, which is making me a bit unhappy. And Hornswoggle, fuck me, man, he must be desperate.
Yep.
You know? Yeah.
What it thinks. Just from the what I just saw.
You're covering your mic again, Christine. You're covering your mic with your hands.
Sorry.
There you go.
I, of course, can only say my opinion on what I just saw. Did it seem to you like it might be one of those, they're not letting us say Merry Christmas movies?
No, it looks like it's going to be a rip-off of Jingle All the Way to me from the plot so far.
Yeah, with the toy.
I think they were canceling somebody and replacing him with AI or some shit like that.
That's he said something that they didn't like, so we have to go full on cancel culture and
fuck off.
Fucking ridiculous. That was awful. Jesus
that
Christ.
was awful.
The fucking Lady Ballers trailer was better than that fucking trailer.
Man, I'm not going to get that 52 seconds of my life back. I could have done a lot in that 52 seconds. That was painful.
I've had wanks that were quicker and more enjoyable than that fucking watching that film. Okay. Moving swiftly on. Bob Iger, because, you know, I love bringing this twat into the news. Yeah. The Marvels suffered, so this is in Variety report here. He was saying the Marvels suffered from a lack of supervision on the set. Says Bob Iger. Disney CEO admits, studio has too many sequels recently. So Disney CEO Bob Iger said at the New York Times Deal Book Summit. Oh, that was the one that Elon Musk was at. That's the one where he got waved at. Following the Marvels flopping at the box office, that there was a lack of supervision on the set of the film as a result of the COVID pandemic. The combination of the pandemic, set restrictions, and Disney's increased output due to launch of streamer service Disney Plus made it increasingly difficult for the studio executives to oversee the onslaught of new production. Well, you wanted to put all your fingers in the fucking pie, baby. You didn't manage it very well. You know, I'm not going to bother reading the rest of it. It's just basically, you know, blaming lack of supervision and all this. I'm sorry, but yeah,
it just wasn't all that. The truth of it is, it just wasn't really all that. It was okay. It wasn't great. It was like no matter what they were going to do with the Marvels, I don't think it would have succeeded anyway. Even if the strike
it was already. I think it was set up for a lot of hate because Brie Larson's got so many fucking people who are all over that shit, and they couldn't wait to have a go at that particular film. It ticked all the boxes. It had Brie Larson in it, had a black woman in it, had a fucking Asian woman in it. Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's Charlie Angels in space. I mean, Charlie Angels came out to be calling that shit woke as fuck anyway. You know, it was everything they wanted it to
be. Yeah, big time.
Yeah, I mean, it was everything they wanted to come down on. So it was destined to fail in my opinion.
There were other things that legitimately hurt it too, though. I mean, the fact that the SAG-AFTRA strike did play a part in hurting it because obviously the actors couldn't go and promote the movie.
Yeah.
The other two things I would say that did play a major part in probably hurting it. One, the fact that the Marvels are not elite level characters that people know and want to go out their way to see. It's not X-Men, it's not Spider-Man, it's not Thor, it's not Iron Man. So there's that. There's also the fact that around about the same time that the Marvels came out, they had the finale of Loki.
Yep.
And people were more interested in that.
Yeah, but you would think that just the brand of Marvels itself would be enough to entice people to come, because Guardians of the Galaxy was not really renowned, but because the Marvel machine was doing so well, people jumped on that bandwagon and made them household names. I had no idea who the fuck Peter Quill was until Guardians of the Galaxy came along, and I just think that the quality has dropped off so much. I mean, today I was watching little clips of Captain America: Civil War with the scene at the end where Iron Man fights Bucky and Steve, and that whole scenario, that whole setup, no jokes, no bullshit. It was very fucking serious, and it was very dark. It was a very sad ending as well. The bad guy wins, and Zemo, because he's got the Avengers to break up and everything. We don't get that level of intensity anymore in our fucking superhero films. Yeah. It's all fucking fun and games and jokes all the time, always quick whips and shit like that. The stuff like Civil War and all of that's yesteryear, and they need to somehow repeat that formula of making things just a bit more serious and not everything has to be a fucking joke all the time.
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
Yeah, and I think what it is too, people are like, oh, it's superhero fatigue. I'm like, no, people are just tired of bad writing. I think that's really what it is. People are tired of, we got to crank this shit out for the sake of cranking it out because we've got the IP to all these characters, so we have to fucking use them, which you don't, because not everybody's going to care about these characters. I'm sorry. It's just the truth of it. There's going to be people that we will not give a fuck about.
Well, I think
there's a reason why certain, comic books sell more than other comic books. The characters in them. Yep. So it would apply to the movies.
Yeah.
But when you mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy, of course, you are correct. Guardians of the Galaxy was not a household name when it came to the comic books.
Ant-Man 1.
But here's the thing. What
Strange.
Guardians of the Galaxy did right was that the movie was really good to the point that people started talking about it, and it spread by word of mouth. People who went to see Guardians of the Galaxy, they told other people, "Hey, this is really good. Go see it."
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not happening. That's not happening with Marvels.
Yeah. It looked good. It was Marvels in space, and people went and saw it. And it's not none of the 3 Guardians films are $1 billion movies, by the way. They all made the same amount of money, which is around $800 million around that mark. So they weren't they're not the upper echelons of success. But what frustrates me is, despite that was the blueprint moving forward for the rest of the Disney films. It was like, be comedic, be lighthearted. And it was only because we had the Russos who had some balls on them to say, no, fuck you, we're going to buck the trend, that things weren't completely all the same. But like I say, like, you could take some obscure characters and make it work, and others don't. Ant-Man didn't make like crazy money at the box office because people weren't interested. So people can use the Marvels as an example, but I always say, well, look at Ant-Man.
Yeah,
Ant-Man. I think all 3 of those films made less than the Captain Marvel movie. I think. Don't quote me on that. If anyone wants to Google that. It's not just about what works and what doesn't
TLD,
work.
I'll get to your question in a second, TLD. But just regarding like the 3 films that came out this year, Ant-Man, Guardians, and Marvels, to a degree, I think there is certain elements of humor in all 3 of those films that are warranted. But that you bringing those 3 films all out in the same fucking year, it doesn't help. You know what I mean? If you were able to mix it up and have something a bit more serious, if Blade was available by now and it came out the same year as one of these 3 films, it would have made a nice little mix of, okay, something's comical, something's serious, something's dark. But no, you brought out 3 comical films in the same fucking year, and people are fatigued from it. They don't want it. They want something a bit different, because I actually don't mind the comedy in the Marvels. I thought it worked because when you've got a character like Ms. Marvel, who is the comic relief, it worked for how things have been portrayed, especially what we saw from her on the television series. But it's all the fucking same.
I said Marvel, Cheeto, not the Marvels, you dumb fuck.
Guardians of the 3 wasn't too, compared to the other 2, it wasn't, but yeah, it still has its moments.
What are you talking about? It had a lot of jokes in it. Just because, it had a few somber moments with that fucking raccoon. The rest of it was just joking around, or Peter being an insufferable prick.
Yeah.
Yeah, him almost dying in space again. Like they went to that well again, which was a bit stupid, by the way. I want to quickly respond to this question from TLD, because I wonder if you guys are seeing this. Completely unrelated, but has anyone seen The Outlaws with Christopher Walken?
No.
It addresses woke culture in an educated way. What the hell is woke culture? If somebody explain to me what woke culture is, that would be great.
Be nice to people.
There you go.
I'm looking.
Captain Marvel made 1.1 billion, and none of the
Captain Marvel made 1.131 billion. Ant-Man, the first one, made 519 million. Second one made 622 million. The third one made 476 million.
Yeah, the Marvels is the lowest grossing movie that they've done to date.
Yeah, the Marvels is, but what I mean is, it's not just about the popularity of a character. It's just how the film is. It's if people give a fuck to go see it. The Guardians might have been obscure, but the marketing and the trailers and all of that behind it, and the cast looked fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
And that's what drove people to it. Plus the soundtrack really helped with all this kind of stuff. And Captain Marvel, people were genuinely interested to go and see, the first kind of female driven film. But the Marvels, it just didn't look good. And like Shredder says, because of the strikes, they just couldn't market it either, which hurt it in a big way.
It was too much against it To be honest, it was a lot against it to where there
There
was
was a
no
lot of
way it was
factors
going to make
against
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
There was a
also,
lot of
I
factors
think that
against
also what worked against it was the fact that it's the fourth Marvel property to go out this year, if we include the TV, so including Loki. So we've
Yeah,
had,
if you count Loki, it's the fourth.
We've had Quantumania, we've had Guardians of the Galaxy, we had Loki, and then we had that. Actually, no, we've had 5.
Secret Invasion as well.
Secret
So
Invasion.
that's 5. That's 5.
Yeah,
It's too much.
television I'm not too fussed about, but for people to go to see 3 Marvel films in 1 year, I think you're asking too much for them. You know, to go to.
And as
their
you
hard
said,
cash in cinema.
3 films that look the same.
Yep.
Same comedy,
Yeah.
the same like.
You needed to mix it up. Yeah, you really
I hate
needed to mix it up.
I hate to be that broken record, but less is more. Give us less and stop giving us shit we don't care about. I say this every time we talk about Marvel. That's what they got to do.
Yeah. Get people out there that people want to see, you know. But just Spider-Man. Fucking start production on Spider-Man. Just move on to Spider-Man. Go Fantastic Four. Go X-Men. Go fucking Blade. You know, all this kind of shit that's going to drive asses on seats. Christine, sorry.
Sorry, just a quick question. I haven't seen Loki. Is it any good? Do you recommend
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Phenomenal.
Yes. It's phenomenal. Yep.
It's awesome. Yeah.
And by the way, regarding the 3 films this year as well, they're not just comical. You have Subspace and Space. I mean, they are so fucking similar in that sense alone. You know,
Yeah.
going to alternative worlds and shit like that. You know, and they got the color palette is pretty much the same too. Hey, quiet, you guys. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, Marvel needed to mix it up, and they didn't. They gave us a very generic list of films this year.
No, let's see what they do moving forward. Then they need to they need to adult their shit up a bit and stop pissing about and stop fucking falling back to their well that they always do, you know, which is just make everything the fucking same.
Put a chicken in, make her gay. That's what you do. You put a chicken
Yeah,
in and make her
exactly.
gay.
You know,
Yep.
and lame. Exactly.
And lame.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one tickled me. Amazon fires producer Joel Silver from films starring Mark Wahlberg, Jake Gyllenhaal over verbal abuse. Now, for those that don't know, Joel Silver is the powerhouse god producer of the 80s. Like, think of like the kind of action films of the 80s. I think like the Lethal Weapons and all that kind of shit. Even you know, and he was the fucking driving force behind those kind of films, those big action films of that. He was also the executive producer for the Matrix films, all this kind of shit. And the guy,
Yeah, I had to say the Matrix.
yeah, I mean, he cracks me up because he was always renowned for just having a crazy temper on him. And sometimes it worked to the benefit of a film, sometimes it didn't. But just seeing him just getting fired from the production of these films here, it just, I don't know why, it just tickled me because I'm like, oh, so finally that's the camel that broke the straw. That's the straw that broke the camel's back.
It's the saying of sometimes it's just better not to say shit at all. And this was one of those times that you just don't say shit. But what do? You went around and you said some shit that you shouldn't have said.
Eventually, you know, but I think it's the fact that he's become too old and too irrelevant, and that's what happens after a while. You know,
Swordfish killed him. Swordfish was the film that
I
just
thought the Glimmer Man
killed
the
him.
Glimmer Man
you know.
as well. Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's
you
such
know,
a
he
bad
just
film.
started making absolute gash after the Matrix. After that, absolute dog shit. And yeah, I suppose he just doesn't have the pull he once did, so they're just happy to get rid of him if he's going to be
What did he
verbally
say?
abusive. I don't think it's clear. Let me see. For the past few years, Joe Silver has kept relatively low profile. His most recent credit was Little Scene Superfly remake. Still, fucking hell, they remade that. Still the hard-charging producer behind some of the great hits of the 80s and 90s, attempted a comeback, blah, 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 TV project, Parker Noir crime novels. Alas, the Silver comeback has hit a snag. Sources at Amazon has fired the polarizing Hollywood figure from at least 2 films, one starring Wahlberg and the other Gyllenhaal, for being verbally abusive to 2 female executives. but sources close to Silver say Amazon is retaliating against the producer after he's pushed back on the studio's calls to use artificial intelligence to finish a movie during the strike. Amid the chaos, Silver's longtime friend RDJ, Robert Downey Jr., has quietly exited one of the projects. So what no one is disputing is that Silver has been relieved of his production duties on a Gyllenhaal film, the remake of the 1989 action film Roadhouse. That was nearly complete when the SAG-AFTRA strikes began in July. Yeah, Silver produced the original Roadhouse, which yes, we know. He's also no longer producing Play Dirty, a Mark Wahlberg vehicle that will mark the first project adapted from the series of popular Parker crime books that were written, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so there we go. It's probably, yeah, it's more probably likely, yeah, could be a retaliation from Amazon, who, you know, if they had it their way, they'd fucking screw everyone over and pay them nothing and do it all with AI. But it was, yeah, verbally abusive. Female, it doesn't matter what they are. He's always been verbally abusive to everyone. And that, but yeah.
And like you said, now that he's too old, Hollywood's like, all right, man, fuck you. You've served your purpose. You're out. Get out.
Yeah, they've moved on. There's only room for one or two verbally abusive producers now, and that's it. And that's Avi Arad and Kathleen Kennedy. They're the only ones that are allowed to get away with being abusive.
Yep.
Because, yeah. Anyway, moving on. CM Punk. Somebody asked me to put that in the docket. So, Sam, was that you? It was you, I think.
I mean, that was me, considering the fact that he came back just the following day after our last podcast. I thought it would be worth bringing up because he's become. Yeah, so he has hell has frozen over, but that famous saying of never say never. So I do expect Tony Khan to be on Raw today when AEW fucking tanks. That's for sure. But until that happens, I'm not. I'll go with what Bubba Ray Dudley said in a podcast he did with Mark Henry and somebody else. He said this shouldn't be surprising, and the reality is it shouldn't be surprising when Eric Bischoff turned up on Raw.
When Bret Hart came back,
when Bret Hart came back. Yeah, even seeing people like Hulk Hogan coming back, after all the controversy he's been through. Some of these things shouldn't be. Even The Rock coming back when you thought we would have lost him to Hollywood forever.
Mm-hmm.
What did The Rock do?
Left to go to Hollywood.
Nothing personal. He just went to Hollywood, and you would have thought that he would never want to go back to wrestling ever again. But he did. He came back. So to see CM Punk come back. Why is that so surprising for anybody? Considering it was teased to a degree by the WWE with various things like the GTS done by Shinsuke and all of that. I mean, it shouldn't have been a surprise at all. In all honesty, I don't know if you guys agree or not.
I'm in the camp that the ship sailed for me long ago. I mean, it's cool that he's back. They're going to put him in the world title picture, obviously, but I'm like, okay, it is what it is. I mean, all top guys eventually do find their way home. They all come back. So it's not really all that shocking.
It's what's best for business, Jose, in the day, because something like this, him coming back is massive. Like everyone's been talking about the WWE. He's come back, and AEW has become an afterthought. Because of him coming back.
And even though I don't care about Punk personally in the title picture, I'm not even going to lie. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk is going to be a hell of a match. And Punk is finally getting what he wants. He's going to main event WrestleMania. That's the whole reason he's back, is to get that WrestleMania main event.
I'll give you another example. Ultimate Warrior. My goodness, how that guy came back constantly. Yeah, even though it was just it was like an adrenaline boost. Just for maybe waiting for a week or two, then they'll sack him again. It done its job very briefly. Even if it's just a shot in the arm, and CM Punk might be gone before Christmas. Something happened. This will be these moments will be remembered for a long time, and they sold inches on fucking social media because of that. So.
And they're talking about CM Punk, and let me just say this. They're talking about CM Punk versus Steve Austin. No.
Yeah, the book of that they're saying that's from the rumor for Mania.
Yeah, they're thinking about it, and I'm like, no. If anything, here's what you do: you bring back the Stone Cold podcast, put him and Punk in a room together, and have them shoot the shit. I'm more interested in that rather than seeing these two square off in a match.
I don't want to see Austin fight. Austin had his send off against fucking Kevin Owens.
Yeah, he had his last
I mean?
match. Let him have it. That was it.
And you saw like when you're trying to stop mud holes, he hasn't got it in him anymore, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's going to be another fucking hardcore match, please.
Yeah,
you know, like,
I don't.
It's just
I don't need it. I don't want it. I'm good on it. I'm like, nope. Keep that shit in the video game fantasy world, and let it be one of the great what ifs.
Yeah, this is Vince McMahon level of fucking of booking. We don't need this shit. You know what I mean? It's fucking ridiculous.
If anything, if anything, here's what you do. Here's exactly how I'm booking CM Punk. When he wins the world title from Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40, this is the last time I'm having him ever touch that damn thing. And then after that, you know what I'm doing? I'm giving him the Shawn Michaels run where he just puts the next generation over, because that's what CM Punk needs to be doing anyway. He should be putting the future over. If I'm the WWE, I'm like, all right, cool, man. We'll give you one last title run. Go enjoy it for about 3 months. You're going to drop it back to Seth, and then you're just going to be putting guys over.
Title run.
Yeah.
He doesn't like people. As much as he complained about how he was treated in WWE, he had one of the longest title reigns of all time.
Yeah, he did.
Whilst he was there. Let's never forget that. So for me, title reign, I'm not too fussed. As long as we have some good matches, some good feuds, that's all that really matters. You know, blur the lines between kayfabe and reality if you have to, but just make it entertaining. That's, you know, and because whoever goes up against him now is a sacrificial lamb, because there's no way in hell that Punk is going to lose his first fucking match in the WWE.
If they do like a TV match, I would rather he lose his first match back just as a sign of good faith, because Brock Lesnar did that when he came back. I would have CM Punk actually lose his first match, maybe at the Rumble when he comes back, just to say, "Hey, motherfucker, you got to do business. You can't come in here after talking shit."
By the way, that what they did to Brock Lesnar when he came back and lost to Cena after beating him, bludgeoning him, and bleeding, making him bleed and shit like that.
Yeah,
one of the stupidest fucking things ever. I'm very happy that Brock Lesnar survived that.
Yeah, but you got to consider. I think Triple H is not going to let CM Punk get away with all the shit he said entirely. He's going to make him do business. I think it's going to end up happening. I think he's going to make CM Punk lose his first match back, which I think he should. I think Punk should do business as a sign of good faith. And then after that, you can do whatever you got to do.
There's a rumor in this.
Fair enough. I hope that's the case.
A clause in his contract saying that if he pulls any of the shit he did at AEW, he's out immediately. Like,
yeah, you can't pull that king shit attitude.
He's also not allowed to reference AEW either because of NDAs that he had to sign in order to get out of his contract.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What was it that he was being naughty about?
You're covering the mic.
He got fired from AEW for unprofessional conduct. He lunged at Tony Khan at the All In show at Wembley. Tony Khan's the owner of the company.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the 3-strike rule is not going to apply to CM Punk. I'm like, you get one chance, motherfucker. You fuck up, you out. I don't give a shit.
I think that's what everyone's expecting, because, you know, as I said earlier, Ultimate Warrior, he came back several times and then he left several times afterwards. I mean, the guy couldn't maintain a long period of time within any of the companies he was with. And I think people are just wondering, when is it going to happen? I mean, will it happen before Royal Rumble? Will it happen before the end of the year? Will it happen before Mania? When, or after Mania? When is Punk going to be given, as we say in this country, his P45? And that means like his pink slips or whatever you guys say in America. When's he going to be told to fuck off? Because I just thought it was inevitable. He is who he is. I mean, as much as Triple H said that, you know, 10 years ago we were different people, Well, all in or wherever the fuck it was back in August. That was like 3 months ago, and he hasn't changed. You know, like there's no chance of him changing that much from 3 months ago.
I could tell you why.
Triple H might have changed. I do believe Triple H has changed.
I could tell you why. I could tell you why CM Punk is quote unquote changed. He knows this is his last chance for that $1 million payday, and he knows if he fucks up, he ain't seeing that. So that's why he's on his best behavior. It's not because he wants to be; it's because he has to be.
It's early days at the moment, but that mask eventually he will be who
it will come off. Yeah, it will come off.
Yeah, that mask will slip, and he'll have an issue with somebody or something, and then he'll say "fuck you guys" and. You know, screw you guys, I'm going home, or I don't like how things are running and I deserve to be better and all this shit. I just was inevitable.
Yeah.
Sorry, but the difference is if he has an issue with somebody in the WWE locker room, it'll be a case of Triple H is going to pull them both aside and get it fucking dealt with. It's not going to be like what happened with Tony Khan, where
it's going to
things
be like,
just get to the point where it boils over.
It's going to be like the scenario of D'Lo Brown and Ahmed Johnson getting in that shoot fight in '97, and JR pulled them both to the side and said, "This is WWF, boys, and we can either get along." And he looks right at Ahmed Johnson and goes, "Somebody going to have to go along." And that's going to be the same case here if that happens.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if he causes any shit, they'll have no issues kicking him out. And then then he's just all that's left for him to go to is TNA. Who will take him? By the way, they want him there.
They will take him.
Yeah, they made an offer. They apparently did make a contract offer to him.
I mean, the thing is, CM Punk is one of my favorite wrestlers, despite everything, because he's one of the few wrestlers who makes it look legitimate and you actually believe. Because, like, obviously,
I mean, we were praising Collision the first few weeks he was on it.
Yeah, because he had a lot of creative control over it as well. And now you look at Collision, it's reverted right back to being just another shit Dynamite.
Yep.
I mean, look, let's just say for argument's sake, he does lose his job at WWE and he ends up at TNA. That's not going to look cool. That's going to look fucking pathetic. Yeah, I mean, you hear his fucking music and he walks out on the TNA stage. It's like, oh, fuck me, how the mighty have fallen. You know, so yeah.
I think
even
at this time, people are just going to be like, you know what, fuck off. You know, people wanted to see him back in the WWE, obviously, but if he causes shit there and he gets kicked out, I don't think people are going to be following to TNA and things like that. They're just going to be like, oh well, he's just going to go there and it's going to cause more fucking crap. And people at TNA don't want that. Like, if you look at all the shit that's coming out from there, it's like everyone's having a great time. Everyone's getting along great at TNA. They said Christopher Daniels, who's like the fucking veteran, one of the OGs who works there, said like the locker room. No, Kazarian. Sorry, not Christopher Daniels. Saying that the locker room is the best he's ever seen in terms of just camaraderie and atmosphere and all this kind of shit. You bring someone like Punk into the mix, it could, disrupt that.
Yep.
So it's. I think going back to WWE was, you've got to be driven so hard. Like, you've got to really fucking hate AEW to go back to your mortal enemy after the shit that happened there. And to be fair, Vince didn't want him back, but it was
Vince
Triple
had
H.
no say in it.
Triple H and Nick Khan were the ones that said, "No, we're bringing him in." Tough
shit.
If
there was ever a sign that Vince is actually truly out of power, this is it. Because they didn't even consult the motherfucker on the matter.
Yeah.
They didn't even tell him he was coming back. Vince is out.
Ari Emanuel really stabbed him in the back, and I love it.
Yep.
And here's the thing: the fact that it was just Triple H and Nick Khan who were doing the negotiating, it meant WWE was able to work with fucking dirt sheets.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's something
nobody was able to leak that. Punk is coming back at Survivor Series.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you want to know
how they should do it. That's how it should be done with anyone coming into the company. Or anything that's going to happen, they should just keep it like very tight between the creative and the wrestler and nobody else.
Yeah, just say we couldn't work it out. That's all the fuck they got to say. And then it's like, oh, this motherfucker showed up. Well, don't believe everything you read then. There you go.
Well, here's the other thing, though, with the CM Punk story. I don't know how many of you guys have heard of it, but I'd want to know what your reaction would be to the report that's making the rounds that Bryan Danielson headed up the committee that got Punk fired.
People need to get the fuck off of Bryan. People need to get the fuck off of
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan. It ain't his fault.
Yeah, I
It was
agree
the right
100%
decision.
with Jose.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. But the way people going on about Bryan Danielson recently, they're calling him a weasel, a snake, and all of this sort of shit. It's like, what the fuck's wrong with you guys? The guy's been put in a position of power where he has to make a decision, and he did what he felt was best for business. Considering someone like CM Punk is his long-time mate for maybe over 25 years, it probably wasn't easy, but he did what he felt was best for business. And I think people who have an issue with Daniel Bryan over this stuff it's fucking ridiculous. It really is.
He would have been fired regardless. He would have
he
been
was
fired.
out. He was out. Yeah,
Khan would have taken him, and they shouldn't have leaked out that it was Bryan Danielson, because you know how stupid wrestling fans is. But Bryan Danielson is a fucking professional at the end of the day, and he doesn't want this kind of toxicity there. I'm sure if it was up to him, he'd happily get shot of the fucking Young Bucks as well, because they're just as much a part of the problem as anything else. And
well, the main one, obviously, with Punk being fired, Jack Perry.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, why aren't people saying, well, what role did Bryan Danielson have in that decision? Nobody's talking about that. Maybe he's the one that prolonged his suspension and all this kind of shit.
I mean,
And
call
Jack
me
Perry
crazy.
caused all of this shit.
I mean,
For
call me.
being-
Yeah.
Sorry, 1 second, Jose.
Okay.
This all started. This all boiled over because one dumb prick got butthurt because he couldn't be put through glass to be written off TV for just a couple of weeks. And it didn't start with Punk. Punk was not the first person to tell him no. Punk was the last person to tell him no. Other people said no, and he threw a hissy fit. And so they went to Punk, and Punk was like, no, if you want to do that, you go do that shit on the other show. You're not going to do that shit here. And it all just boiled over from there. And I still say Punk's reaction to somebody just looking at the camera and going, real glass, cry me a river, and then to react the way that he did was fucking pathetic.
Yeah.
I'm not absolving Punk or of his actions and that, but because Tony Khan is a complete fuckhead who's running an absolute circus. In fact, no, that's an insult to circus, because circus are well run. He's running a fucking a government, a right-wing government there, which is basically chaotic, stupid, and everyone's out for themselves. This is what happened. He sucks. He sucks as a booker. He sucks as a boss. He sucks as a manager. He's just a fucking trust fund kid who got his toys and he doesn't know how to fucking how to build his army properly. He's a complete useless sack of shit, basically.
Tony is that kid Tony's that 13-year-old kid booking fantasy matches. That's basically what he does. And here's the thing. I'm in the camp of, I go back to the media scrum. I blame every fucking body involved in this. I don't give a fuck who started it. I don't give a fuck who said what. If I was Tony, I would have been like, all right, all y'all motherfuckers are no longer EVPs, and Punk, you stop this shit. And y'all either need to kiss and make up or y'all need to get the fuck out. I would have stopped it right then and there, and all this could have been avoided. I go back that far.
Yeah, but I mean, we said last week that he should have fucking fired Hangman Page, and he hasn't done it.
Yep.
Yeah, the guy drinks blood and they fucking don't fire him.
Yep.
Like, just ridiculous. Hangman Page, again, Punk, he might be a bit of a fucking diva on edge, but he also, his understanding, perception, and knowledge of wrestling is up there with the best of them. And he knows his stuff. So his criticism, when he calls Page a fucking idiot or just a guy that's just dumb, and then he goes and drinks fucking blood, you just vindicate his criticisms. You're not doing yourselves any favor by fucking lowering yourself to like this kind of shit is a shit that idiots did in their backyards and put it on fucking YouTube. This isn't the shit that should be on national TV. It's just fucking ridiculous. And Punk, this is why Punk, because again, like QT Marshall has now left AEW, and he had a falling out with creative because his QT TV was also blocked on Collision by Punk as well. But again, you look at Collision, you look at how good that show was when Punk was around. He's always vindicated in being the control freak, because like I don't want the dumb indie shit spilling over. And it's not just the dumb indie shit. He didn't want it WWE-esque, because look, we watched Survivor Series and my God, it was awful.
It was the glorified indie show with a WWE budget.
It was so bad. Like the wrestling, it's not wrestling. Again, it was just like watching the Young Bucks. It's just like do one set after signature after one set, and that was it. And it was crap. The only good one was Zoe Stark versus Rhea Ripley, which was a spectacular match. But the rest of it was garbage. And even that kind of shit wouldn't have flown on Collision. I'm sorry.
And here's what's pissing me off: the fact that QT Marshall is leaving because he wants AEW to tell stories, but instead, here's the formula in AEW. It's Wrestler A versus Wrestler B. Now go out there and go have a 5-star classic. That shit ain't going to work. There's no way that can work.
I believe his exact words were it's moving in the direction of becoming like New Japan.
Yep.
So New Japan is what? One match after one match kind of thing, or
no
storylines. Is that what
after watching AEW, I don't go out of my way to watch AEW, but I did watch the pay-per-view because it was in London, the one in August, and I was very disappointed in how they do their matches. Like the level of false finishes, it made a parody of wrestling in a way, because they thought the false finishes didn't feel authentic. They were doing finishes on these motherfuckers, double teams and stuff like that. Stuff that would when you watch the WWE, that's it. You take one of them, you'll be lucky to kick out of that shit.
Yep.
And they were doing that all the fucking time. Like, it became a fucking joke. And God, it didn't make me appreciate
it with that with NXT. The amount of near falls, it really fucking used to piss me off. And AEW did it as well, and it was just.
I watched an NXT match, and what I feel is different is that they're not necessarily doing a lot of near falls. They're doing a lot of just really good spots, and they don't have to be looked upon as not every spot has to be looked upon as a fall. Like the fatal fall where I saw with Bronson Reed, who's become probably my favorite wrestler now. I love that guy. Bronson Reed and these other three guys, Joey Gargano and the other two, like they did a really good match where they were able to complement each other and do a lot of maybe even finishes too. But because there was 4 of them in that match, they were able to stop the pins from happening, which made it feel authentic. When you're doing when you're having a match with a couple of tag teams and they're constantly doing double team finishes on you and nobody's getting pinned, they're just constantly kicking out of it. That feels fucking stupid. It's the kicking out of the pins all the fucking time.
You basically
just being broken up. It's not so bad.
Yeah, but that was NXT
you basically just described every single Young Bucks match ever, because that's exactly what they do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, at least with NXT they break up the pins, but if you're kicking out the pins, then I have a problem.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
okay. All right, kids. Well, I think I'm about out because we're 3 hours in and I've still got things to do. So thanks for having me. Yep.
No worries.
Yeah, mate.
Yep. We'll catch you later, dude.
Catch you later.
See you later, mate. How you doing, Chris? You all right? Well, Chris is that. Yeah. Chris, you okay?
Yeah, my back.
Sorry, we talked about wrestling for a little bit. I do apologize.
Oh no, it's fine. I have chronic pain and I just took my pills, so I probably should go.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I've got nothing else I want to talk about. I don't know if you guys want to carry on.
I think we should.
Okay, go on.
Well, I went for Chris to go because it's about like the what culture wrestling awards for the year.
Okay.
I posted before, but if you guys have got anything else you want to talk about, any films coming out?
No, not really. You want to talk about
I'm gonna go, guys. You have fun. I had
All right,
fun.
Chris. You take care. Thanks for joining us.
See you.
Bye, Chris.
See you next week. Please invite me back.
Okay.
Yeah, next Friday for sure.
Good night. Bye.
Yeah, all the best. Good night.
Okay. So I wrote the list before down. We have a look. Here we go. So we had. So here's the list that What Culture put down. At number 10, Sabre Jr. versus Danielson for Wrestle Dream.
Was this matches of the year?
Yeah, for 2023. Yeah. Number 9, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair at Mania. Any ones you don't agree with, just shout at me, and I'll be quiet.
I don't really remember that. It didn't really stand out, to be honest.
Viking Raveners versus Alpha Academy from Raw, July 17th.
Yeah, that was a great match.
Number 7, Anarchy in the Arena, Double or Nothing.
No.
What?
Yeah.
Anarchy in the Arena.
That's the one
Which
where...
one was that again?
It's the one where Matt Jackson super kicked John Moxley in the face with the sparkly foot.
Oh, no. Fuck off. No. Good Lord, no. Fuck. This is why I hate What Culture.
Okay,
Anyway,
number 6, Gunther versus McIntyre versus Sheamus at Mania.
That was a good match, but I wouldn't put it in the top 10.
At number 5, Omega versus Ospreay from Forbidden Door.
No.
No.
Number 4, Danielson versus Starks from All Out.
Yes.
That's a top 10 match of the year.
Yeah.
Number 3 was Danielson MJF in the Iron Man match at AEW Revolution.
Yes.
Mm.
That should be top 3.
Okay, number 2, FDR versus Jay and Juice at Collision from July 15th.
2 out of 3 falls, yeah.
And number 1 was Omega versus Ospreay from Wrestle Kingdom.
No.
Jesus fucking Christ.
No, fuck off. No. No. Fucking What Culture. Idiots.
I mean, I agree
I've
with
already got
some
my
of
number one.
those. I don't agree with
My
the
number
placement,
one
but I
is that it is that match I saw at NXT, but I don't watch wrestling anymore. So that NXT match was my number one because it was fast paced, loads of fucking action in it, a variety of different wrestlers as well. When you got a big fat guy like Bronson Reed and some high flyers and technicians and shit like that. Loved it, fucking loved it. And if wrestling was more like that overall, I'd probably end up watching it again.
Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov is a contender for top 10 matches of the year. You've got Gunter versus Chad Gable. That was a strong contender for one of the top 10 matches of the year.
Gunther versus Chad Gable. That was a great match.
Yeah.
the final 2 at fucking Royal Rumble should be a contender as well. I know you can't really put the whole Rumble in there, but Cody Rhodes versus Gunther in the Royal Rumble was phenomenal.
Hobbs versus Miro from was their pay-per-views was really good.
Yeah.
What's that one?
Hobbs versus
Will Hobbs versus Miro.
Great match, yeah.
Yeah, as I said, the ones all right, let's go down the list. So the ones I would take out, I would personally take out maybe Viking Raiders versus Alpha Academy. I think that some of the things should go lower than maybe the Powerhouse Hub goes in top 4, 5 at least.
Viking Raiders versus Alpha Academy sounds like some fucking school, fucking college football in America. For fuck's sake.
I would definitely take out the Anarchy in the Arena. You know, nothing against that match.
Yeah.
It's just I would.
The match was the shits.
It was the shit. Exploding fucking foot bollocks.
Yeah. Which other one? Which I don't know. I mean, I did like the Omega Ospreay match from Wrestle Kingdom, but I'd have it lower. I wouldn't have it number 1 personally.
Yeah.
No, number 1's got to be FTR versus, Gin and Juice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Gin
number
and
1.
Juice. I love that.
Spectacular match.
Yeah, so like Simon Miller did it.
Doggy Dog, Gin and
sounds
Juice
great.
entrance music.
Yeah. I mean, look, What Culture is always just a fucking, since the Cultaholic lot left, it's not been the same in turn for the wrestling. The Cultaholic lot and Adam Blumpy cheaty, explicitly sexual harassing you, P8 left. So yeah, I just can't take their fucking wrestling stuff seriously. No offense to Simon Miller, but he just tends to like everything. You know what I mean? He's just the nicest guy in the world. So, but no, I don't agree with half of that list. I do agree with the other half of that list personally, but you know, everyone's top 10 is their top 10. What can I say?
Yeah.
I think the awards I'm working on for worst wrestling of 2023 is going to have more credibility than this list.
Well,
I need to do your list. Where did you post it? Was that in NerdTube?
It was in Nerd Nation. I'll be putting up something. I think I'm going to put something up on NerdTube to open it up to like the entire community to vote on it.
Yeah, but don't put the funny names that you had for them. Just put the actual like title, because you know. So instead of like was it? I can't remember what the name.
There was the Buck Zoom. Well, here's the names I've got for them. So there's the Buck Zoomoff Award for worst male wrestler.
Yeah.
The Linda Miles Award for worst female wrestler. The Ding Dongs Award for the worst tag team. The Jim Herd Award for worst booker. The Katie Vick Award. Yeah, the Katie Vick Award for the worst backstage or pre-taped segment. The Vince Russo Award for worst angle. There's the Bret Hart and WCW Award for the worst booking of a former WWE recognized star. The Ahmed Johnson Award for wrestler with yeah, so there's the Ahmed Johnson Award for wrestler with the worst promos. The George Goulas Award for most clueless dumb fuck in professional wrestling.
Tony Khan.
There's the Ric Flair Award for the wrestler who's been around for way too long. The X-Pac Award for wrestler with most go-away heat. The Kennel from Hell Award for worst gimmick match. The Who Booked This Crap Award for worst regular match. There's the I Will Not Billy Gunn This Reign Award for the wrestler that blew or lost a major push. There's the I've put it down, the Uncle Dave Award for the worst piece of wrestling journalism. There's the Chris Jerichovid Award for the dumbest decision of the year. Where's my
Adam Page?
That's my contender for that one.
Yeah.
There's the Where's My Refund Award for the worst major pay-per-view or major event. The Change the Channel Award for worst wrestling TV show. The Cornette Face Fuck This Company Award for worst promotion. My final two categories, I've got the Herb Abrams Nose Candy Award for worst promoter. And the William Regal Award for the wrestler that deserves so much better.
The Herb Abrams Candy Award. It's a contender between obviously Khan and the guy that runs MLW, who's been an absolute cockwomble with releasing some of his stars and not allowing them, and also having a very restrictive contract where they can't compete anywhere else.
I'll tell you who I've got listed for these categories so far. These are my nominations anyway. So for worst male wrestler, I've got Tyrus. Worst female wrestler, I've got Saraya.
Okay.
The Ding Dongs Award for worst tag team, I've got the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
Worst booker, I've got Tony Khan.
Yep.
So for the worst backstage or pre-tape segment, I've got Adam Cole rearranging Roderick Strong's furniture.
What one's that one? The worst backstage segment. Okay.
Yeah, worst pre-tape or backstage segment. So yeah, I've got Adam Cole at Roderick Strong's house rearranging his furniture. Worst angle I've got is Shayna Baszler turning on Ronda Rousey.
Oh yeah,
because that just came out of fucking nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
The Bret Hart and WCW award, that goes from my book at least, that goes to Keith Lee in AEW.
Yes.
Ahmed Johnson award for worst promos, I've got Kenny Omega.
Yep. You can't
the George Goulas award for most clueless dumb fuck in wrestling, Adam Page.
Yep.
The Ric Flair Award for wrestler who's been around way too long, that's going to Tommy Dreamer.
Oh yeah.
Or at least my nomination anyway. The
That would be
wrestler
mine.
with most go away heat, I've got Matt Hardy for that one. He just comes
Oh,
on and I
really?
just want to switch off. Yeah, he just comes on TV and I just want to switch it off.
Okay.
Worst gimmick match for me. This was a toss-up, but I wound up going with Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland in that Texas Death Match.
Yep.
My previous contender for that was going to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre match.
Yeah, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre match, the Stadium Stampede, and the Adam Page match for sure.
Yeah. So worst regular match of the year, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez against Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
The I Will Not Billy
Sorry,
Gunn
guys.
This Reign Award.
Sorry, guys, I'm off. I'm passing out on you guys.
Yeah, no worries.
mate. We'll
Take
be
care,
done.
mate. I'll see you guys.
We'll be
I'll
finishing
see you
up
guys.
soon anyway.
Yeah, see you,
Bye
mate.
for now, Sam.
All right, then I'll see you.
Yeah, take care, mate.
Take care. But the my nomination for the I Will Not Billy Gunn This Reign Award is Matt Riddle, who got fired just for being Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
The Uncle Dave Award for Worst Wrestling Journalism is going. My nomination for that anyway is Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer proclaiming there was no way CM Punk would ever be back in WWE.
Yeah.
Worst decision of the year for the Jericho COVID Award. That would be the NWA airing James Mitchell snorting cocaine.
Yeah. I'm still going to put
Because-
Adam Page drinking blood for me.
The Where's My Refund Award, that is currently for me AEW Double or Nothing. I was the worst show of the year.
Was that the one at Wembley?
No, that was all then.
No,
Oh,
Double
yeah,
or
that
Nothing
was
was the one in Vegas.
Was that before
Yeah.
All In?
Yes. I
Yeah, it
believe.
was. Had the four-way with the four pillars of AEW.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
That was a
God.
pretty cool match, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was a poor,
I mean-
poor event in general.
I think I agreed with some of those in the ones I put down. The ones I put down were like the worst match I saw, which was what was it now? It was that god awful one between the War Games one that I literally had internet problems. My computer decided it was going to Harry carry and watch it. The one from Sunday, that was pretty bad. That was my nomination.
The Change the Channel Award for Worst Show this year, I've got as my pick AEW Dynamite.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, by far.
The Fuck This Company Award, I've got the NWA for that.
Yep.
The worst promoter, so I've already named Tony Khan as worst booker, but worst promoter I'm going to say is Billy Corgan.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
And the William Regal Award for Wrestler That Deserves So Much Better. My pick for that is The Kingdom. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett.
Oh, right. Okay. Mine's Sami Zayn.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mine's Sami Zayn. And that's why also for worst booker, I'm still going to go with whoever decided to fuck Sami Zayn's push. That is the most inexcusable decision they've made creatively. It pissed me off because it took me right back to all the stupid fucking decisions they made. It should have been Sami Zayn to dethrone fucking Roman Reigns. Don't give a fuck.
But are you going to judge the worst booker based on one issue, or are you going to judge
Yes.
their entire body of work over a course of a year? If it's
No.
over a course of a year, I'm fucking going with Tony Khan.
Yeah, I mean that's understandable, but it's because he's always the worst booker, and he even his decisions the previous year, the year before that, they've always been shit. This
I
year,
mean,
no
but
fucking
for me, it
different.
was between Tony Khan or fucking Billy Corgan for worst booker.
Yeah, that I mean,
Because the NWA has become unwatchable because
Yeah.
of the booking.
that's fair. But because I don't watch the NWA, and because I'm already used to Tony Khan being a fuckwit, they had they built up the whole Sami Zayn thing so amazingly. It was the most must-watch shit in wrestling, and they shit their bed with it, and that's what's inexcusable. It's like the whole fucking, you know, when TNA built up Bobby Roode to kind of be the next champion, then he doesn't end up fucking winning it, kind of thing.
James Storm wins it the next night after Bobby Roode loses his big shot.
Yeah, which is just fucking stupid. So things like that are just unforgivable. Sometimes it's laid out there in front of you, and your ego and your stupid decisions just to do with some arbitrary fucking numbers of how long you hold a title is why you fuck up that whole angle. Fine. What they could have done is have Sami Zayn beaten badly and injured, and then he should have come back at Mania and fucking won it there. Great. It would have been amazing. Up there with Kofi Kingston, up there with Daniel Bryan, all of that. Everyone would be talking about it. Everyone would be sucking off whoever made that booking decision. But instead, it all just went to a big flaccid cock of garbage.
I put down for the person who lost a push was LA Knight. I mean, ever since Fabian the Saudi Arabia show, he's been nowhere. I don't know what happened to the guy. I mean, the crowd was behind him. He was like getting rocking and rolling, and then all of a sudden, just nothing. It just went.
He's actually my pick. I would say for Wrestler of the Year.
Mine too.
Yeah,
because
but they still fucked it up.
I mean, you know, Gunter has been amazing to watch in the ring, but looking at LA Knight, I mean, going from a fucking manager of the Maximum Male Models to turning around and being the biggest star in the company that's not a champion.
Yeah, that's a damn good point.
No. I mean, I'm not saying he's not great. He is great. I'm just saying that ever since he lost the reins at Flaming.
Yeah, but again, we're sitting there frustrated. Like, what are they doing with LA Knight? Who are they even fucking pushing now? Because they even derailed Cody Rhodes. They keep derailing everything, and they have to rebuild shit again. It's just like, fuck's sake, man. Wrestling is not hard to book, really. It's not fucking hard to book. But because you're dealing with idiots that don't know how to actually tell a good story, okay, we just keep getting fucking like, it's like edging. We're just being edged, edge, and then she fucking walks away and leaves you there rock hard with no finish kind of thing. And I can't stand that in wrestling. I'm beyond the point there where I give any kind of excuse for that kind of booking. Just give us what we want. It's fucking wrestling. It's not fucking politics where people are gonna, you know, billionaires are gonna lose money just because they don't fucking get their way. Okay, it's just fucking wrestling. Just tell a good story. You know, sometimes a good story is the bad guy winning, but other times is you've got red hot heat and the story that is writing itself with minimal effort, and you still derail the whole thing. And this is why wrestling just becomes unwatchable, because it's just the same old Vince McMahon shit that we've had for 50 years, and it's just it needs to stop.
I mean, I know Cheeto's not a big fan of Roman Reigns, but as I said, like, Reigns has been holding it well. He's been having decent matches, but yeah, I think it's time now that he gives it on to, unless they're set on breaking on Hulk Hogan's record. It might be just that that's what they want to do at this.
Hasn't he broken that?
No,
not yet.
He breaks.
How long has he got to go before he breaks that?
Mania. He breaks it.
No, he has to go beyond Mania for that.
No, I think someone calculated.
How far beyond Mania?
Yeah.
No, it must be Mania next year. Hang on.
Oh, fuck that. If they keep the belt on him for that long, they could fuck off.
So 1,000 something days, I can't remember what it was.
Hang on, Roman Reigns title reign.
Yeah, or just the longest WWE heavyweight champion title reigns or whatever.
Yeah. Something like the 5th longest recognized. Hang on, so WWE Championship. Or WWE Championship, because, you know, they don't call it the WWE World Championship now, do they?
Yeah, no, it's just
Right, so here we go. Reigns. So let's see. Days recognized. Reigns is the 5th longest. So the next milestone is Pedro Morales at 1,027 days. He's 600 plus days away from that.
No, that's
Then
all
you've
right.
got, then you've got Bruno Sammartino at 1,237 days. Hulk Hogan at 1,474 days. Bob Backlund at 2,135 days. And Bruno Sammartino again at 2,803 days.
I thought, hang on, how long has Roman Reigns had it now? Isn't it over 1,000 days that he's had it?
Yes.
607.
No, that can't be right because they ran. That can't
Unless
be right.
they're counting another belt, I don't know.
Yeah, that's not right because WWE had a whole thing during the pay-per-view or something like that about the number of days that he's had it, and he's already exceeded
1,188 days.
There you go. That makes more sense. Yeah, 1,180.
Is that the Universal Championship by any chance?
I'm just going by his wiki here.
I don't know.
In 2022, he became the longest reigning Universal Champion.
It's because he's held the Universal title 1,182 days.
Oh,
so 1,182 days. That means the next milestone is Bruno Sammartino.
That's how they're going to count it, though. They're going to count it with that.
Yeah. But the next milestone to catch up to is Bruno Sammartino. Hulk Hogan, he'd have to hold it for like another year.
Yeah, with Hulk Hogan, he'll have to hold it for another 300 and something plus days to beat him. Yeah, I'm looking at Kel now's record here, and it has an asterisk on it. But yeah, let's just hope he loses at a fucking Mania and be done with it. I don't want to see him trying to beat milestone after milestone. It's not that era anymore. It doesn't work like that anymore. You know, people are just getting fed up, and his matches are getting too fucking samey as well. So it's just like, you know.
Again, I wouldn't be too disappointed if he retained the belt at WrestleMania and then SummerSlam they built up champion versus champion against Gunther.
Oh, that could be good.
If they did it that way, that would be great.
But then you'd have to win against Gunther, though.
As long as Gunther wins.
Yeah. But you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But, it'd be intriguing because you'd be wondering who is going to win.
Yeah, that's it. You'd be intrigued. I mean, imagine that. He's an Intercontinental Champion, a WWE Champion, and the Universal Champion all rolled into one. That'd be amazing.
Again, he's outgrown that Intercontinental belt. So, for me, it would be a natural conclusion. You would think he's going to win, but there'd also be the doubt in your head. You're like, are they just going to keep the belt on Reigns again?
Yeah, that's it. So,
because he's had what 3
high Mr. System.
I mean, how many WrestleMania main events has Roman Reigns had in a row? About 4, 5,
something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, let's have a look.
3 of them were against fucking Brock Lesnar, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Universal title
Anyway.
fucked way off. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, so is there anything else to add to
No,
this?
that's it. I'm jumping off because I'm tired.
Yeah.
But, all right. Thank you to everyone who joined us in the comments. Mr. System, you come right at the end of the stream. Thank you to everyone. We had a full panel today. It was lovely to see. And on that note, stick around. I think next up we have Doctor Who coming on Sunday. Can't do tomorrow because I'm with my nephews, so I won't be able to even watch the show. So the Doctor Who review will be 8:30 Sunday. Come join us for that and anything else that you see on our channel. On that note, goodbye. Fuck off. Go home.